underway, Tristan, but it is going to be an interesting race to say the least, as Evan Davis has already decided to put the foot down, and away he goes. It is green and go here, though, at Sebring for the 6th week of racing at the league by Foxxtecca.
And it's already proved to be quite an entertaining one. Minoto there in the background is doing everything he can to now fight it out with Gorbatenko still, and looks like he's going to hold the inside. Someone's lost it. It's Majori.
I think he just clipped the rear, and that's why we've seen the bumper come off the car. But Troy Anderson's got past Declan Dienarine, who's looking back up the inside, and through goes Caden Parks-Miller, trying to go up the inside as well. But Troy Anderson in that Corvette, trying to hold it strong. Bit of contact there, rubbing his racing gentleman, and Parks-Miller looks to stick the nose up the inside at turn number 1, but cannot get the move done, runs wide onto the grass. Does this open the door for Colin Flynn? Yes, it does. Through he goes at turn 2, not quite got the move fully done yet. Into 3, bit more hip and shoulder between the two of them. Caden Parks-Miller still on that outside line in the red and black Ferrari.
And this train is still expedited from 3rd all the way down to 9th position. And there is so many attacking opportunities here up on the inside. Parks-Miller's going to go. He's now got the inside line. Much better from what we saw last time around. Here's Dienarine's unfortunate fate that's been led to him as they head up towards the Sunset Bend. Collishaw in the background will also look to try and take a little bit of advantage here. Same with the likes of Bowie soon in the background in the green and yellow Mustang. But now Peyton May is not going to be handing this one away for free. And indeed he is for the Scorpio Esports team, moving just one up. And again, Kingston Mullings is going to come up on the inside line here. They're actually going to make contact.
Get around, get to the end and finish this race and look to do it all over again in the second race. Drew Metcalf once more on the defensive line here from that of LaRusso, who gets a better run around the outside of turn 1 into the hairpin. Collishaw and May have just lost out to Kingston Mullings in the background.
As we mentioned, white flag lap will be coming in very shortly. And then it's a one last dash down to the line, but LaRusso's going to get bumped from the rear. Evan Davis from the Davis Motorsports is going to bring home a whopping P1 to extend the championship lead here. Indeed he does, and he's going to have to do it quick and short. There's no much time out on the field for the pace car, and it is already the gantries out on the full green. Saba does get a good pull off there. Colin Flynn's already moved up 1. Caden Parks-Miller getting a good launch, 2 places up just on the launch there. Ramsey Jimenez missing out on launch, down 2 spots already, but Saba is going to try and carry this on the outside line there. Evan Davis and the likes of Kingston Mullings.
But this is back further forward. This is Ramsey Jimenez, who's coming under pressure from Colin Flynn. In fact, no, he's putting Flynn under pressure. Wants that podium. Looks to the inside of turn 2. Should have it now going into turn number 5. That is in front. Parks-Miller looking to make a move on Saba. Ramsey Jimenez later on the brakes. Herschel still trying to hang it on in there. A little bit wide from Flynn on the exit. Just runs Ramsey out of road. Yeah, it's almost like passing a ship. It's that big, the Ford Mustang. But here comes Caden Parks-Miller once again looking to the outside line. Really, Ramsey Jimenez needs to get on between Parks-Miller and Saba.
And so that's just going to be a slight bit of aero knockoff that he's going to experience. Not too much of a drop-off that he has to worry about here. And so the more that these cars fight, like we just saw, Herschel drops all the way down.
Ramsey would love his first podium of the season. Davis moves to the inside, looking up the inside at turn number 1. Ramsey gives him the space. He's now got Ramsey Jimenez to just be aware of as a back marker, as here goes Herschel looking up the inside of that of Colin Flynn. Landon Batson taking a wider line, little slower out. That's affected Colin Flynn, and Colin Flynn just held momentarily. And what a 3-way fight this is for the final podium with 9 minutes to go. Flynn's lost the rear. Flynn's dropped the rear, and that's and Herschel's just collected him.
Hey, lunch is a good promise for a win. I'm not going to lie to you. So Davis is going to be pushing on strong here. Can Parks-Miller defend for 9 minutes, or is he going to succumb to the pressure? It's already going side by side. And in actual fact, Evan Davis, he almost had it there, but now up on the inside line, it looks like Evan Davis is going to have the better run here up into Sunset. Diving up on the inside, LaRusso gets a black flag penalty. That's going to serve himself a drive-through and a better slingshot. Davis had the run. He didn't have the roundabout shot. Now he's going to have the inside line yet again for turn number 1. Viggo Hendrickson has distanced himself a little bit from Troy Anderson. He has the three-way saw with fourth position. And this is now giving a bit of a runaway here for Peyton May, that he can run away now from the 2 behind that are fighting it up with each other. Herschel is going to lose to Dienarine here. The flashing of the lights is going to come for the Davis Motorsports team. What a win for Davis. Parks-Miller is going to come in for a neat second. And Jimenez, after a long-fought battle, is going to take 3rd. And he's waving the flag. What a man.
It was great. I felt on form all day, and I knew I if I got clean air, I could catch Caden in race 2, so I'm glad it worked out that way.
Dude, that is just such a good race. I'll be honest with you. A lot of stuff happened. Now feeling it. I mean, they didn't catch it, but I was basically crying on my stream.
It needs to try get some pace coming through the field as Arctic Fox in the virtual grandstand. That is Ramsey Imner saying thank you for the commentary today, guys. Our pleasure as we are green and go. And they're already 3 wide on the second row of the grid. It is Rodrigo Meets who's moved up into second position at the moment in this race. David Toff now attacking the back of that of Young, who looks back up the inside. We've got a bit of action further down the order. Maya Dianarino has lost out to Tyler Carr now. Is side by side with Carr, looking to go around the outside in towards turn 1. Breaks a little bit later than Carr, just gets a bit more of his car alongside. Not be that great at other times, and Eisenring gets really close on the exit. Oh, late defend there from Elon Johnson. Not in the braking zone though, and Eisenring might now come under pressure from Neshev in the background, and does come under pressure from Neshev. And David Toff, if he gets one slither of an opportunity, will make that move. And here we go, there's the slither, door is open. Toff goes side by side now. See there, Morley Joff come across to try and give Young a bit of slipstream there down the start, finish straight. Toff's going to try and hold it round the outside. No, it will be the checkered flag for Roman Pascucci, who takes to the line now and does win this race from Rodrigo Meets. Then Marley Joff. Young stays ahead of Toff on the league by Foxxtecca. We'll get into that in just a moment's time, actually, because we are about to go green here at Sebring. It is green and go for the second time. And look at how many cars already try and jump out of position coming in towards turn 1. That is your pole sitter of Muscolino, who leads going into turn number 1. David Toff, 3 wide still, with that of Valero and Marley Joff trying to duke it out. That's Grabowski off. That like to hope their buddies out at this stage of the season. No Eisenring, no Jones took to the start of this race. Grabowski's got damage on the rear of his car. And Muscolino, contact in the midfield.
Yeah, my goodness, a lot of action up and down the field. Yeah, Laubish has just gone off as well. And Roman Pascucci down currently. Let's see, there's the contact with Toff, and there we just see Nicholas Laubish being knocked off the circuit. I thought it would have been massive damage, which a little bit more justifiable, but just being shoved off the circuit, I think there definitely was room for recovery there.
You get this with the top drivers, don't you, as David Toff gets the run out of the Le Mans curve. Now down onto the back straight in towards the sunset bend. You can see the sun setting on the final corner. And David Toff, big wiggle, David Toff. That's opened the door for Valero. Has he got himself through? Not yet, he hasn't.
And trying to fight it out. So this is Median Arene on the outside line. Up on the inside is one of the fiercely forward drivers. So he's going to really have to try harder. You can see once again Muscolino immediately to the inside line. He knows that Valero is going to have the slip here, but he'll rather have the inside for the rotation around Sunset, although Valero has got a massive slingshot advantage now on the outside line. Is it going to be enough to wrap around here? Or is Muscolino still going to hold? And actual fact, Gal Valero is going to have the slingshot. And this is the best opportunity that Valero's got to take P1 in this race. And it looks like he's confirmed it. What a great move around the outside of Sunset. And Valero now defends for P1.
Not yet, he doesn't, because I think Muscolino may just have a nose. Breaks a lot later in towards turn 2, and here comes Muscolino once again. The front 2 duking it out. David Toff back with them. Still Muscolino has that inside line down the straight towards the turn 7 hairpin. Really bumper to bumper. Toff breaks early, looking to get up the inside line of Muscolino through the turn 7 hairpin. Gael Valero has now got out in front.
So, you know, when I get it right at
here comes David Toff, looking side by side with Adam Muscolino, and you've got Pascucci trying to get through as well. Molly Joff waiting in the wings. David Toff now has it inside line, coming through turn 2. Has he got the move done? No, because Muscolino fights his way back through. Molly Joff now looking on the back of Pascucci in towards turn 7 hairpin. To the outside line comes Molly Joff. This could be the greatest move of Molly Joff's race, and he's through.
But Valero has fought like an absolute champion in this race, getting ahead of Muscolino. Toth is now ahead, coming up towards the checkered flag line. Is it going to be Toth who takes second? And indeed it is.
Looking to try and make that move, and we know he gets his elbows out. Muscolino, though, just left the door open. Oh, bumped him a little bit. Format A, though, for the final 2 races of the season. And we go to the penultimate round at Virginia Raceway. We'll see you next time. Goodbye. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are across the world. Welcome back to the penultimate round of the league by Foxxtecca. I'm Matthew Duffin, joined in the commentary box by Tristan Herbst, and Jim Cunningham, our producer, will be in the background bringing you all the pictures and replays you'll see on the live broadcast this evening. It's Virginia International Raceway, the 3.2 mile circuit, 5.2 in kilometres. The full course here, the tight, twisty, bendy, sharp circuit that can catch a lot of drivers out throughout the course of this evening is our destination for the penultimate round and the first of the final two A races of the season. 60 minutes await the drivers' destiny here before they could possibly take one step closer to championship glory, or they could find themselves out of the reckoning going into St. Petersburg next week. Tristan, a very good evening to yourself. This track is going to provide some fantastic drama and action tonight, it would seem, based off the tightness of this circuit. We're in for one heck of a night, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a great night of racing that's coming our way. A difficult track in terms of overtaking and actually trying to progress your way upfield. So qualifying is going to be quite an important milestone here for all of our drivers in terms of where they will place themselves out on the grid. Not many great places to actually make some good overtakes. You've got a couple of good corners such as turn 11 and turn 3, which will present themselves to be somewhat of a hairpin. Same with turn 1 horseshoe, which gets a little bit tighter and almost like a double apex. So it's a bit more technical to make an overtake there. But nonetheless, our drivers here in the Pro-Am division, as well as the Pro division a little bit later on, are going to give us a run for the show here to see how things are going to happen. Like Matthew mentioned, we do head into our penultimate round, round 7 of 8 rounds. And unfortunately, things are slowly but surely coming towards the end, but it is still going to be some fantastic racing for the last 2 rounds, both format A, 1 hour long pit stop strategic races. And it's such a technical circuit. I think we've got our hands full for tonight in the GT3s.
Indeed, we have. The championship standings look for interesting reading, and Evan Davis and Caden Parks-Miller are the two that are the closest drivers. In it, 9 points separate them going into this race tonight. Andrew Herschel is 51 back, with Andre Saber 69 behind. So big ask for them. Mathematically, Ramsey Jimenez, home race for him tonight, could still be in it, but he needs drivers to not score points or not finish races if he is going to. Troy Anderson, Dan Gorbatenko, Kristen Havdal, Vigard Henriksen and Alex Altoricio round out your top 10. You can see the other drivers battling for positions out there on the championship standings as you go through. A shorter grid tonight as well, Tristan, for tonight's proceedings here at Virginia International Raceway. So a few less cars on the grid, which should hopefully be less chaos for us to see and a bit more racing action. Only a handful of overtaking opportunities at this circuit tonight. So this is really going to provide us with, not that many overtaking opportunities throughout the night it goes on. But this is the AM category. They will try and overtake absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a chat about it, I think, throughout the entirety of the season, that the AM class definitely never ceases to provide us so much entertainment. So we will see how that's going to go tonight. I'm looking at all of our amazing supporters pile through our virtual grandstand. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure you've got your eyes peeled on your selected drivers here, because we are getting close to the end, and this is where the points are going to matter the most. I see Kingston Mullings did get an update there from his dad to say that they're trying to get his power sorted, but they are struggling to get it up. So let's hope that they can get that up for Kingston Mullings and the rest all jumping in, getting ready to go for qualifying and our racing session for today.
Indeed, we are. We can take a look at a track map while the qualifying session just gets underway of this 3.2 mile circuit. Virginia International Raceway. You can see there. It's an absolute belter of a circuit layout, that is for sure. You come down the start-finish straight, or start-finish bend almost, as it bends towards the right-hand side, coming across the timing line. You head all the way down towards turn 1. A good stretch of straight-line speed down towards turn number 1 of the horseshoe. One of the better overtaking opportunities on this circuit. As you come out of turn 1, you come down in towards turn 2, quickly into turn number 3, that of the NASCAR bend. Possibly a chance to have a look up the inside, but you need a run out of NASCAR bend before you come. And I don't know why the Americans do this, because it's only on American tracks. You get to corners 4A and 4B, according to 4 and 5. It's labelled on the track map. The one I'm reading on my desktop next to me is 4A, 4B. Left hook is what it's called. Before you come through the left hook, you don't give the right hook, unless maybe one or two drivers fancy one or two boxing matches tonight. Into the snake, you slither your way through the snake, climbing up the hill towards towards that of the S's. Turn 7, 8A, 8B, turn 9, or as this track map may show us, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There it does as well. 7, 8, 9, and 10 through the S's you go, climbing up the hill a little bit in towards that of South Bend. South Bend. Tricky corner, but a chance to maybe set yourself up coming into turn 11 and 12. Double right-hander at this one. If you can get the momentum through 11, you can get towards turn 12. Oak Tree is the corner's name, and I believe from what I've been told from my friends who this is their home circuit, they took there's another oak tree on the outside that they planted there because of the one that's now gone on the inside or something, if I remember rightly. I've probably butchered that. Sorry, Wellington. Down the back straight, or as it's known, and I've been told to call it this tonight, Madison Avenue is the back straight down in towards turn number 13 and 14. This is the roller coaster section of the circuit. Left and right, up and down, side to side, like a roller coaster before you come through that of 16 and 16A, that of the Hog Pen. Is a crucial corner to get right, because if you can blast your way out of there, out of 17A, you get that run down towards the start-finish line, down towards turn 1 once again, and maybe look to make a move in towards turn number 1. That is a lap of this Virginia International Circuit, and what a lap it is going to be here at Virginia for all to see tonight. This is going to be an interesting race, to say the least.
Interesting race, to say the least. I think that's the correct words and the correct terms that we get to go into tonight. But one important thing we've got to go through is that we've got two very important liveries, and one I don't think Matthew knows about, because I received a private message that Matthew has to react to this live.
No,
in any case, let's do the cooler livery first, right? Let us smell something fishy in the air, because it looks like the request has been granted. And there is indeed a shark out on circuit there tonight. So Evan Davis up in second place. The Jaws is officially there to attack, and apparently it's been added to the car. We'll try and see it. I mean, I
on the
saw,
front grill. Look, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. There you see the teeth on the front, and very, very nice. We got the Jaws, purple and white Mustang out on the grid. And Davis is in a tight contention here for the championship. So what a great little livery to put on going into the penultimate round. And then for the slightly funnier livery, which I had a good laugh about, let us go find Mr. Tanner Kneebone as he goes around circuit. And is it only next week? He did tell me for next week. Yes, it's next week. Okay.
His brother's going to college tomorrow and moving away, so he's going to college. So him and the family are spending time with his brother tonight. So Tanner's not here tonight.
I see.
Yeah, if you've seen that livery, I haven't yet, and I've been made well. Yeah. Well, he won't show me. I've been asking all week, and he's still not going to show me. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see what Tanner's conjured up for next week. But we'll wait to see what happens at St. Petersburg. A lot of action in the virtual grandstand. Good evening, everybody. Welcome in. Qualifying well underway here. Andrew Herschel is currently the man on pole position from Nicholas LaRusso. Evan Davis is third. Jaws himself. Troy Anderson is P4 from Declan Deanarine. Caden Parks-Miller. Ramsey Jimenez down in seventh from Lewis Holloway. Woods, Gorbatenko rounding out the top 10, but it's a very close qualifying, especially when you look from second all the way down to that of P9. There's only 4/10 separating them, so real close qualifying here at the moment. This is Troy Anderson in the Corvette. This is Caden Parks-Miller, the man who is fighting Evan Davis for that championship.
Yeah, it's going to be super tight up at the top then. Herschel has also placed a good congestion marker up at the top, currently faster than LaRusso, David Anderson, and Deanarine by quite a long shot, the only driver currently to break into the 45. So that could be potentially deadly at the top spots. We are currently 10 minutes or so into qualifying, so 5 or so minutes left to go. And remember that in the league by Foxxtecca, we do have a hard cap cutoff for the qualifying. There's no overtime runoff. As soon as it hits 15 minutes, the cars will be brought back to the pit lane so that we can get ourselves ready. But we are back to some Format A racing. If you are recently joining us for the league by Foxxtecca, you would have known that the past couple of races have all been Format Bs. So we get to head back to a Format A race. Only one single race per class coming in for tonight. That race being a total distance of 1 hour in length with a mandatory pit stop being thrown into the equation. So that always throws things up a little bit. And with that 60% fuel tank limit, the drivers in any ways would be forced to come to the pit lane because they cannot last a full hour out on circuit on a single 60% tank. Landon Batson also out on circuit. I believe he's also live with his POV, which is good to know. So he's busy sending it out on circuit, seeing what he can do, the number 94. and down in 29th at the moment. Lap Legend saying that he is currently sitting in 90 degrees weather. And it's funny saying that because we were just having a chat about weather. I'm in -2 degree weather right now. And then everyone else is in pretty, so that's Celsius, not Fahrenheit, but everyone else is in pretty okayish weather here from Jim and Matthew. But it's good to see the fluctuations all over the world. Some people dying of heat, some people struggling with the cold, and yet we are all here to experience the league by Foxxtecca.
Gordon Mullins saying that trying to calm the young man, nothing you can do with acts of God outages. Lap Legends as well, a little saying that Ramsey Jimenez is also running a special livery on the 77. And then I can see Ramsey's brother there, the illusory Bro Pro. That's Ramsey's brother at Wellington, are saying also, Matt, the Jimenez's are no slouch around here with my world records. That's his world records on motorbike games. Declan Dienarine has just moved up into second place within 3/10 of Andrew Herschel, who seems to have this qualifying locked down to himself at the moment. 3/10, quite the gap between himself and second place, and then it's only 3/10 between second all the way down into 8th. So Andrew Herschel at the moment, there is the special livery apparently on the number 77, the Lap Legends cars.
Ooh, I like
sponsored by Simplay Motorsport. It's nice looking livery. Tristan, I tell you what, I've been doing some work for Chris over this week. I've been, obviously, you've drove in a league that I run. I've been promoting Foxxtecca over there over the last week or so. So Chris, there you go, Chris. Thank me later for that one. Been trying to get people to come over and watch and tune in. But yeah, lovely looking livery. We've got the Jaws out there. We've got the special homecoming livery for Ramsey Jimenez there. Then great to see. Every season we talk about the liveries, and we've not spoken about it as much this year. Obviously, there is a prize for the best looking livery out there on the grid. The designer gets a little prize. I can't remember what the prize is exactly. And it's brilliant to see. We've seen some belters over the seasons, none more so than Mayor Dienarine's Suzuka livery back in his Mercedes of last year, the Sakura pink livery. Fantastic car again this season, Tristan. We've some belting liveries out there. They've been gorgeous at the moment. There was the Brazil livery in the Pro Series of Mayor Dienarines that looked really good. Ramsey Jimenez's like crayon, like as if a child had coloured in the side of the car back. I think it was Mo Sport. That was another nice looking one. So many good liveries to talk about we've seen this season.
Yeah, Alan Way, I think, still takes the cup for it, doesn't he, with his livery that confuses the absolute daylights out of me. In any case, very cool to see on the Ford Mustang. You'll get to see it a little bit later in the pro race. But yeah, some great liveries. No, there he is. Yeah, he's in the AMS. Yep, there we go. We got the two-tone. I would actually call it a four-tone almost, actually, because the leopard print is a two-tone leopard print on the left-hand side of the car. And on the right-hand side of the car, it looks like a flag of sort, with the front having no stars and the back having stars. So it's almost a four-tone Mustang. Out on circuit, so a nice little bit of creativity there coming from Alan Ware. But yeah, exactly like Matthew mentioned, we've got loads of very cool liveries out on the board, and there is indeed a prize every single year to get those drivers encouraged to get their artistic minds working and pull some incredible liveries. And we've got quite a lot this season. But yeah, like Matthew says, I think the winner still currently sits with that Suzuka livery. From the likes of Mayor Dienarine. We'll see if anyone can top it. I do indeed like the Jaws, and especially with the 4 golden teeth representing the 4 P1s over the season. Very creative over there. I was just maybe wanting to see like a fin on the roof or something. That would have been cool as well. No, I'm kidding. I'm just spiraling now. It's a great livery nonetheless. But only 1 minute left to go. You have qualifying. Evan Davis has gotten second place now. So up into the 45.9s, and he's gotten ahead of Dienarine. Jimenez has also gotten up into the 45, so he pushes up into third. But still, no one can get near Herschel. He is an entire 3/10 ahead of the entire grid. And it just doesn't seem like anyone's able to break in towards that 6/10 marker of the 45.6s yet. It's a 45.9 for Davis. So an entire 3/10 behind. Let's see if he can get it in this final potential lap that he's got.
Well, indeed. Langley in the chat, #1 Finn fan, says that Tanner Kneebone livery of the season, and you haven't even seen it yet, Matt. So, great. Looking forward to that. The Ramsey sketchy one was definitely a showstopper. We've made a lot of liveries, nothing like it for sure. Hey, all, says Anna Stevens. Welcome in. Landon Batson Racing, Dio Racing at the top again. Flashbacks of season 2, and good evening, says Caitlin in the chat. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastic at the moment. Here comes Evan Davis towards a line. Does he break that pole position? He improves, but it's only within 1/10 of a second of that pole position. So your penultimate grid order for the AM season. Andrew Herschel, who, by the way, Andrew Herschel in this championship, 3rd place. putting himself really in a good position now for this championship fight to take the fight to Davis. But Davis is a fighter. Herschel, though, on pole position from that of Evan Davis. Ramsey Jimenez lines up P3. Great qualifying for him. Declan Diener in P4. Nicholas LaRusso in 5th from Chris Carson Havdal. Alex Altoricio from Troy Anderson. Andre Sauber from Caden Parks-Miller. Vigard Henriksen will line up alongside Colin Flynn.
Yeah, 13th down with Archie Woods, and then Lewis Holloway just alongside for the Canberra and Caster team. Casey Berry will line up alongside Kingston Mullings, who made it to the grid here in the 8th row. Peyton May in 17th, with Dan Gorbatenko just a bit further behind in 18th position. Alan Ware in 19th, and Caden Coolidge in 20th position. Kamari Odom will line up alongside Aiden Santiago. Lopez down in 22nd, Tristan Vincent in 23rd, and then Ken Majuri down in 24th. I believe we only have a couple more. Nope, we've got to hold another page. Go for it, Matt.
25th for Samuel Patty. Anton Shoplet is in P26. Drew Metcalf in 27th. From Uvin Sandirigama, P28. Minoto is P29 from Landon Batson, with Jimmy Carroll in 31st. I gave it a try, Jim. You're laughing. Jim, I gave it a try. That's all we can do. Tristan has the upper hand of trying to pronounce Minoto's first name, because Zimbabwe, South Africa, they're not too far behind. They're not too far from each other. So Tristan will know how to pronounce Minoto's first name a little easier than I would. Go on, Tristan.
I can say. It's Munisueshe Minoto. That's he's sitting in the background there. I don't think him being Zimbabwean though is any kind of relative to South African. I think it's,
but you kind of know the pronunciation of names. Kind of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah. I think it might just be. I don't know. It's a weird one. Like I was saying to somebody else. I think it's just the blessing of having an accent that's formed by 7 different countries in one. So, I may have the slight upper hand when it comes to pronunciation and understanding names. Pace car is off, though, and this is going to be quite an important one here for Evan Davis, because if he does want to try and pinpoint this championship down, especially coming into the final round here, he needs to somehow get ahead of Andrew Herschel. Remember, Andrew Herschel is in 3rd position at the moment in that championship standing, so he is well within the fighting bracket with it as well. So it's Parks Miller, Davis, and Herschel who are busy fighting it out for the crown here. Parks Miller, though, currently your most disadvantaged driver in this 3-way fight, all the way down at 10th position at the moment. So he's got a long road ahead of him here in this 1-hour race, but there is an entire 60 minutes ahead, and so is there a pit stop strategy that will potentially throw things into the works. So let's hope for a little bit of contention down towards T1 between these two.
The Golden Falcon is on pole position and has decided to put the foot to the floor and go now. The lights are about to turn green here at Virginia, and they go green now as we get this race underway. Ramsey Jimenez tucking straight in behind that of Evan Davis, down in towards the horseshoe. There you go. Ramsey Jimenez now having a look on that inside line of Evan Davis as they all go 2 abreast in towards turn number 1 for the first time. That's a car just outbreaking themselves, running onto the grass. Jimenez and Davis still going side by side through towards turn 2, and that of NASCAR Bend. There you go. For the first time of asking, Jimenez looking for the up and under out of NASCAR Bend for this first time in towards the snake. The leaders come, and this could be a tricky section for Ramsey to try and make the overtake. That is one of the Corvettes, I believe, that was off there. I think it was Alan Ware that had just spun around. Colin Flynn is the driver who has gone around. It's been relatively a clean start by 1 or 2 drivers just falling by the wayside, Tristan, as we enter the tricky section of the circuit.
Yeah, Troy Anderson's return to pits, it looks like. I think that might have been a bit of a frustrating one, and he's just gone straight back. So something's happened to him as well. 2 Corvettes all the way down to the backside of the grid. Yeah, 18 and 23 positions down, respectively. Peyton May also lost it just at the beginning there. That was the blue Ford Mustang who just left the circuit. And so they're still out on circuit trying to make amends with the error that was made. The DR Racing boys are up strong there in the red Mustangs, trying to keep each other at a decent amount of play, but Karstien Havdal is behind, looking to potentially make a dive side by side as well for Casey Berry and the likes of Kingston Mullings. They're going to go together all the way down the back straight, coming up towards Roller Coaster and then up towards Hogpen in the front straight. This is going to be an important one because your position here going into Hogpen will determine how you can get the rotation in Kingston Mullings, just a better exit into the roller coaster section, and will reclaim that spot in 10th position. Altoricio gets a slowdown, and he's going to have to work that one into this current running order. Kamari Odom still holding down in 19th, does lose out there. This is Tristan Vincent who loses out to Coolidge and Samuel Patty. So that's unfortunate. They're just dropping a wheel off into the grass. out of roller coaster, and that is enough for you to unfortunately lose all your speed coming down into the straights. But 2 seconds ahead of this entire grid already. And Herschel, I don't know if Matthew, I don't know if this guy booked a private session or something, but he is on fire tonight.
Yeah,
and it seems like he's going to be a bit of a struggle for Davis to catch.
He's had his cereal this morning and woke up ready to go for this race. And indeed, he has 1.7 up the road. Great fight, though, behind this one. Evan Davis got a train of cars behind him. Ramsey Jimenez keeping him really honest at the moment in that Mercedes-Benz. Great to see the Mercedes taking the fight to the Ford Mustangs at the front of the field as well. As there goes Caden Parks-Miller looking for a move on Havdal as they come through the snake up into the S's under the Michelin Bridge. Bit of contact there. Havdal onto the grass. Loses out to Sauber and potentially Kingston Mullings. No, lose out Sauber and Havdal, and thankfully for Havdal there, he's managed to keep going and not have a big incident off the road. But him and Caden Parks-Miller coming side by side. That is Coolidge, who's been off the road out through, where's that, up towards 12 and 11. That is through Oak Tree, where he's just rejoined and gets back onto onto the race now. Down Madison Avenue, the back straight, they go. Here's Drew Metcalf trying to fend off that of Colin Flynn at the moment, but further forward, Peter May and Patty, the Aston Martin versus that Ford Mustang, going at it. Down Madison Avenue they come, in towards the bottom end of the circuit to roller coaster now, and it's single file through here. You've got to be brave, Tristan, to make a move through this section of the circuit.
Yeah, you definitely do. We saw Kingston Mullings reclaiming a position last lap, and that was an aggressive dive that he thankfully managed to plant quite well. But like you mentioned, if you don't get that dive correctly, it could turn into a quite possible chaos factor. One thing for all of our virtual grandstand members to clock in now and take into consideration for the remainder of this race. We have only had about 3 laps of running here. There's already been 7 yellow flags issued, yellow flag penalties issued to these drivers. Be expected for some drive-throughs to be thrown as Evan Davis is feeling the pressure now from Ramsey Jimenez, who is looking to contest in the podium spots, and he's actually going to take it here, but it's going to convert through the snake here, and this is very important on the outside line. Can Jimenez get the exit, and over the curb he's going to go? What a great maneuver there for Ramsey Jimenez to get up into second place. But like I was saying, the drive-throughs are going to be a factor in this race. Unfortunately, it is very easy to cut the track limits here at VIR, so the drivers are unfortunately going to end up doing that, especially in high-risk moments like this, where you are continuously fishing for position. You don't know when you're going to step a foot, like Evan Davis just stepped a foot. That's a 2x right there that he's just been issued. And this is what I'm talking about, is drivers will not know it until they see the little black flag next to their name here, as now Davis is feeling the pressure from Deanna Reed and LaRosso, the two working together on the back straight here to potentially overthrow the Jaws car. He's gotten the teeth, but unfortunately they're not sharp enough, and it looks like everybody's contesting against him here, so he's going to have to try and plant himself and see if he can challenge the red Mustangs behind. Parks Miller looking up on the inside as well in the background, seeing if he can potentially get up closer, but just not enough. Single file they go through roller coaster. Jimenez is up into second and will now try and chase down on Herschel.
Yeah, he's already pulled away 0.8 of a second to that of Evan Davis, who's just struggling out there a little bit in the Ford Mustang. He's got Deanna Reen, LaRusso, Caden Parks-Miller, which is huge for the championship, because now Herschel gaining more points over Evan Davis with that Ramsey Jimenez Mercedes-Benz in between them. And if Deanna Reen and LaRusso could start to challenge the back of Evan Davis, they could also bring Caden Parks-Miller into contention, who's 9 points behind Davis going into this one as they come through the Herschel. Once again, 4 laps on the board at the moment. Almost 6 minutes gone here as Lewis Holloway moves up into 15th. Patty must have had a mistake, just dropped down 4 or 5 places there. He's down into 4th, so we'll find out what happened to Patty. But Evan Davis at the moment just struggling out there on these early few laps of this race. This is what happened then to Samuel Patty coming down in towards the horseshoe. Got the BMW just behind. Is it going to be a late move? It is. Bit of a tap on the rear, and round goes that bright green Aston Martin, falling down the order just a couple more places. Haley Batson in the chat says, great pass, Landon. And it's storming where Landon Batson is. So hopefully for Landon Batson, the internet will hold out with the weather going around. This was Troy Anderson's incident from when he'd left the circuit. So he rejoins off the circuit still at the moment, tries to squeeze his... He filters his way on, not too bad there, gets a little tap, and then just pulls off and parks it. And that is the end of Troy Anderson's day. He's not been back out on the circuit since. So, yeah, Evan Davis, though, hasn't let Ramsey Jimenez get away too much at this moment in time. 0.6 of a second is the gap at the moment. As Declan Deanarine is P4. Nicholas LaRusso, 5th place from Caden Parks-Miller. And look at this little battle here. Archie Woods trying to fend off that of Lewis Holloway side by side through the roller coaster here, Tristan.
Yeah, side by side through roller coaster is very dangerous, and I could see that coming because Archie Woods just stepped off of the track there, and unfortunately the rebound is the unfortunate consequence there. Lewis Holloway used as a bit of a pin there to knock back onto circuit. That is unfortunate for Lewis Holloway. He's going to feel the damage on the inside of that Mustang. A little bit of suspension damage, possibly. That was quite a hard hit that he had to suffer there. A little bit in the background, Karstien Havdal on the likes of Andre Saber, the previous champion of this division, who's unfortunately dropped off significantly coming towards the end of it. And now he's just trying to fend it out for a top 5. But now Havdal on the background is looking to see what he can do. Kingston Mullings is being requested by his father to keep his nose clean and make sure that he can just keep the car pinned. Unfortunately, a drive-through will completely throw away any momentum that you try and render yourself in this race. So you really do need to be a bit careful in this kind of event. Kamari Odom does have the pressure from Peyton May behind. Gorbatenko is just up ahead. These two almost looking to go side by side. Vigard Hendrickson now closing in on Karstien Havdal, wanting to see who can be the best of the 296s. And they're on the backside of Kamari Odom. It may look like Peyton May is potentially going to try and do a dive up on the inside. Havdal still holding off from Alan Ware here. The multi-4-tone Mustang now on the back straight. Catastrophic, I believe that's how I say it in the virtual grandstand, saying that they want to learn how to drive and get to this point. Well, make sure you get that practice in because Season 4 Foxxtecca will be coming up next, hopefully sometime this year, if not next year, and that could be a possible thing for you to get in. The AM class is suited for all wide ranges of skill classes, and even if you're brand new, or if you are extremely young, like we've got the likes of Landon Batson joining in here and really threatening some of the other drivers out on grid, get yourself on here, get yourself up on the live streams. It's always a great amount of fun to be here at the League by Foxxtecca, the best place to watch GT3 on iRacing on a Tuesday evening in the Americas and a Wednesday morning in the Europes and the rest of the world. I'm not too sure where the Australians or the Oceanics are busy watching. I presume they're ahead of us, I think. They're ahead of us by about 6 hours. So in any case, that we'll find out. But currently, Vigard Henriksen chasing down on Havdal. That is still the current battle between these two 296s. Let's see who can take it on the top spot for the two of them.
Yeah, we are just working with a audio issue at the moment. We will hopefully have that one sorted. At this moment. It's the car sounds that we are experiencing an issue with. So if you're hearing a bit of an issue with the iRacing cars, we do apologise, and we are working on an issue to resolve that one. But Vigard Henriksen sat in this train at the moment as this race goes on. Evan Davis, with the looks of the timing tower, has pulled away from Deanarine and is right on the back of Ramsey Jimenez once again. So Davis maybe just took a couple of laps to settle into a rhythm, and 10 minutes into this race, he now finally looks like he's into that rhythm out front. Deanarine's still there if these two have a bit of a coming together to pick up the pieces, but we said last week, didn't we, that Jaws music playing as Evan Davis's car approaches the back of Ramsey Jimenez down Madison Avenue. They come once again looking to try and take that inside line down in towards roller coaster. Ramsey Jimenez going to try and fight this around the outside. No, sensibly decides to back out of that one, and will look to pounce on Evan Davis once again. Out the final few corners they both come now, before heading down the start stretch and getting in that slipstream of the big Ford Mustang. Ramsey Jimenez got that third place in race 2 at Sebring last week, so wanting to bounce back with another podium here in the slipstream of Evan Davis as they come down towards the horseshoe. There he is live on his camera, looking to not make a move, just sitting and waiting patiently. But you just feel like Evan Davis has warmed up a little bit in this race, don't you? 10 minutes have gone by, and now he started to put the foot down a little bit more and make his way towards the front. That helps him in the championship massively now, because it keeps him further clear of Parks Miller and narrows that gap of what points Herschel's going to claw back on him.
Yeah, definitely looks like he's had a bit of his awakening snack, and he's managed to get himself up and back into second place. The question is that 3.7 second gap is going to be quite a bit of an existential one that he's going to need to try and work off. So let's see what Davis can do to potentially get a little bit closer here to Herschel, especially coming up towards that pit window. From what we usually know in our Format A races, that pit window happens anywhere between 28 and 35 minutes of the racing duration. So still a bit of a distance away in this race, approximately 20 minutes or so. So a good amount of racing can still happen out on circuit between all of our drivers. I do know that Archie Woods currently, is just about to mention him, there we have him on the cams, is getting closer to Peyton May on the rear side. And then Gorbatenko is currently holding both of these Ford Mustangs off, seeing what he can do to try and keep his spot in 14th, but unfortunately starting to feel the pressure. Kamari Odom's also on the back of that train, joining in there. Shopler gets himself another yellow flag penalty, so there's another one issued for all of our drivers. They've got to start watching out, especially as they get towards the leg end of this race. You do not want to be carrying it. And Matthew, I mean, we've seen so many drive-throughs being issued on the last lap. It is actually wild how many times at the league by Foxxtecca, on the final lap, in the final 2 or 3 corners, someone gets a drive-through. And it's an incredibly frustrating drive-through because it's someone in second or third chasing down for championship points. And then boom, there you go, 40-second time penalty from not being able to serve it on the final lap. So it happens. And when drivers don't monitor it during the race, it unfortunately bites when they least expect it and don't have time to recover from it.
Yeah, and that's a good point you've made this season. We have seen a lot of it throughout this season. As here goes that of May, having a look up the inside of Gorbatenko in towards turn number 1, and does get the job done over the BMW there. So a good little move there for that of May, getting ahead of Gorbatenko, who's coming under pressure from Woods. But you're right, we have seen a number of drive-through penalties being given on the last lap. What I want to say though, so far, Tristan, is, as I'm just reading a message here from Gordon Mullings, it feels like I've watched 35 minutes. Things stress can do, is he saying at the moment. They've been well behaved here at the moment, 13 minutes into this race. It's been a really well behaved start to this race.
Yeah, it really has been. And we've, I think the only difference we see really with our Format A and Format B, and we had this question as well last week, as to what we prefer and what our virtual grandstand prefers as well. Personally, I still do prefer Format B. But Format B definitely does open the door to a bit more aggression shown from our drivers. We've seen it with the 25 and the 30-minute stints. There's a lot less time for thinking and strategy and a lot more time for trying to put the foot down and make those positions happen as quick as possible. So a little bit more aggression that we see in the Format Bs. Format A, it's definitely a bit of a mind game seeing that full 1 hour board at the top left-hand side of your screen, and then still remembering that you've got to come in and put the car, and obviously you need to make sure you've done your calculations correctly. You need to determine definitely track by track what kind of tires you're going to be replacing. I know VIR is quite heavy on the lefts because there's a lot of left-hand corners and a lot of fast left-hand corners, or if you're going to be trying to stick it out on no tire changes whatsoever. So it's always the thing of strategy that you have to think of. Here comes Altericio, though, and this is on our Andre Saba up on the inside line, and looks like he is going to get it. Saba was trying to reclaim the spot on the outside, but unfortunately not much you can do coming in towards Horseshoe, and good defense there from Altericio to keep 7th spot on the board. And Saba and Mullings, Havdal and Hendrickson, they're all in a bit of a train behind here, trying to get up towards 2nd, but I do definitely agree with you. 15 minutes in, and we've had some of the cleanest racing so far we've seen in the AMS so far in season number 3.
Caelan Parks Miller is just ahead of this category, of this pack of cars at the moment, kind of in no man's land. 2 seconds ahead of this train, there he is, and 3.2 seconds off the back of Declan Denerine. So in no man's land almost at the moment, when he needs to be trying to chase down the back of Evan Davis. We'll see how this race develops and pans out, as here is Andre Saba trying to make some moves. Now, Andre Saba, interesting one for Saba as well, because he is 4th. He's only 69 points off this championship lead. Could really do with a good round here today to try and claw some points back in that championship. At the moment, he's going to lose out to the likes of Ramsey Jimenez as well. So for him, he's got to maybe start worrying about watching Ramsey from over his shoulder than watching where he's going further forward, because he's not making up any ground at the moment. Sandy Rigama and Lopez, you can see there were yellow flags to their names. That's going to be slowdowns for them too as well. And this has been a brilliant start to the race. Altericio looking on the back of LaRusso here. Great drive from LaRusso. Don't think we've seen LaRusso this high up this season at this stage of the race. So good qualifying, good start to the race for Nicholas LaRusso there then, who is trying to maintain that 6th position. And you've still got the 3-way, you've still got this little train here. You've got a bit of a 4-5-way fight down behind Gorbatenko developing as well. So keep our eyes on the timings there. Remember, if you all knew, here's a move for Alex Altericio looking up the inside of LaRusso now in towards the Horseshoe. He goes on that inside line, trying to carry the momentum around the outside as LaRusso, and does just that in towards NASCAR Bend. And now all of a sudden, Saba has a look up the inside of Altericio, snatches the place from him. What an opportunistic move that was.
Yeah, good read there from Saba. Left the door open. Unfortunately, Altericio touched the grass and the exit of Horseshoe, and that just allowed for the car to slow all of its momentum down and allowing for Larusso to keep his spot. And Saba taking the advantage by storm and climbing up into 7th spot. Altericio 1 spot down. Mullings and Havdal are now on the rear side, seeing what they can do in the background there. It is still VIR on the backside of Hendrickson, and Berry also chasing down in 13th position. Holloway and Vincent on the backside of Kamari Odom. That's down in 17th. So a good bit of battling that's going on down all across our field at the moment at VIR. Here at this very technical circuit. We go through Oak Tree now. Kingston Mullings is going to still be on the backside of Altericio here. Unfortunately, Havdal has lost a little bit of momentum there. He's down 6/10 at the moment to Kingston Mullings. So not within attacking distance down the straight. The few up front here, I also don't think 3/10 is just a bit too much. Altericio will probably get to around 2.5 tenths or so, but just not enough to make the dive on Saba, and will have to remain patient. Down into roller coaster they go. Evan Davis is not catching Herschel at the moment, and it's unfortunate to see because I would love to see a P1 battle, especially coming into our penultimate round, but just Herschel is lapping incredibly quick. Last lap was his fastest with a 45.7, and Evan Davis's last with a 45.6. So that's actually coming in to look quite fast there from Evan Davis, except I think it might have been an invalid lap because it does not show as the fastest on the boards. So he, again, has to watch out for invalidating those laps around the circuit. You do not want to be throwing anything away here at the end of it due to a drive-through penalty. So Davis needs to now clock those laps that are roughly the same as Herschel if he wants to catch up in time. He's got about 40 minutes to go. Can he catch is going to be the real question here, and whether or not P1 is going to be uncontested, or if we maybe will see a bit of a three-way battle for the lead.
Indeed so. Ryan Racing, have the commentators noticed the little message on the back of Davis's car yet? The answer to that one is no. We haven't noticed the little message on the back of Davis's car. Now, Davis could either slow down to let Ramsey catch him so we can go on board with Ramsey and see that message. Otherwise, we might not get to see it. So either Ramsey, put your foot down, or Davis, just back up into Ramsey a little bit so we can read the message, please. Apart from that, no, we haven't seen the message on the back of Davis's car at the moment. I am loving the teeth, though. Almost Rexy vibes on the front of that car. Old Sharky out there today, Evan Davis. Looking sharp out there, indeed he is, but he's currently in 2nd place at the moment. Claxton Martin.
Yeah, you nobody can hear Jim in the virtual grandstand, but he was just mentioning there was another league that me and Jim did the other day, and another very special livery coming in for the Aston Martin, which was actually a duck's bill on the front of the car, so it was called the Quaxton Martin. So yeah, we're loving the creativity these days. The drivers are starting to get smart. I think Rexy's got to have a new name because I don't know, Rexy doesn't link to a Porsche. Quaxton Martin links beautifully to an Aston Martin. What can we do with Jaws and a Ford Mustang? I like Jaws Mustang. I don't know how that sounds, or a Jord Mustang. I don't know how that sounds a bit weird. I'm not sure, not 100% sure. But regardless, Evan Davis is, again, just managing right now to a 3.7, 3.8, not able to get up at the moment. And Ramsey Jimenez also about 1.5, not able to catch up to Evan Davis. So let's see. Ryan Racing saying those teeth was about version 10 he did for him. So Evan Davis, a bit of a picky man, it seems, with his teeth. Couldn't even brush 4 of them because 4 of them are yellow. No, I'm kidding. No, I know those are for the race wins. So 4 race wins out on the field. But Alex Altericio now in a bit of a train, still with Saba and Mullings. Good little bit of fighting here that Larusso's got to try and hold out from.
Oh God, I can't do this. As Altericio gets past that of Saba, Kingston Mullins is trying to come through as well as his Henriksen. Havdal is just falling down places at the moment and being swept off his feet here as they come through Oak Tree. Vigard Henriksen did get past Havdal. So Havdal losing out a few places there, but Mullins, Saba, Henriksen, Havdal, Ware and Berry, all in this battle at the moment with Altericio as well. You two crack me up. You guys really crack me up. And this is why we love the league by Foxxtecca, because it's absolutely brilliant to be a part of. And my days, I'm going to miss you guys in 2 weeks when we're not back here. But we are here. It's Virginia International Raceway, and there is one heck of a train. All of this as well is for 7th place on the circuit, points up for grabs in this one. Look behind though as well. There is that of May and Gorbatenko just off. Sorry, no, it's Barry and Ware and Berry, apologies, just off the back. There you can see May in the background, who will slowly catch up to this train of cars at the moment. And Herschel doing the job out front, maintaining that gap to Evan Davis, with Ramsey Jimenez now falling to 2 seconds behind, as Ware has just made the move on Berry. They're going at it in towards Horseshoe. You could see them there, and I believe that was Berry off of the circuit and is now coming under pressure from May.
Yeah, that's in the background there. You can see that Berry is indeed feeling the pressure here from Peyton May, potentially going to be swapping around here with Casey. And up on the inside, May is going to have the better run. Coming up into turn number 3, they will go. And then into left hook. And going off again is Berry. So just not having the momentum out on track. And it's also going to get a slowdown from that rejoin on the left-hand side of the circuit. But I'm not too sure what on earth is going on there with Casey Berry. That's 2 errors now in one go. And seeing what they can do to potentially catch up now to Peyton May. This is a bit of a replay here with what happened. So coming out of corner exit here, you can see Peyton May looking up on the inside and goes over the curbing, still within track limit here. And now coming into turn number 3. Oh, that's what happened. A bit of a tap, actually, that we just didn't see from that camera angle on the back left of Casey Berry. So a bit of sparks igniting off the bumpers there. And Casey Berry just not getting the rotation needed after that bump. Off the track, unfortunately. Then Ryan Racing saying version 1-9 wasn't very realistic for a shark, and he nearly had a shark tail on the rear. I agree with version 1-9. Why on earth is there no shark tail on the rear of that shark?
He did say if he wins here, there will be a shark tail though at the end of that message.
Okay, cool. If he wins, guys, if he wins yet today, catching up to Herschel, you've got to scrap the purple and white. You've got to turn a bro into 2002 Jaws. You've got to completely change the look of that car to, I don't know, he needs to even have a soundboard when overtaking that plays the audio. That's the kind of level you guys have got to go for. All right. Again, the message, sooner we need to have a bit of assistance here from Ramsey Jimenez. We're waiting. You can see we're ready with the camera angle. Ramsey Jimenez is currently 2 seconds off. He is slowly but surely catching. But unfortunately, me and Matthew don't have supervision. I can't really see any text on the back of that purple Mustang just as of yet. So I think we need to get just about 2 to 1 tenths behind before we can read any kind of writing on the back of that car. And then our livery designers can officially be appreciated once we notice all the aspects of the car here. Jimenez has also got Deanna Reed catching up behind her, though, Matthew. So he could potentially start to feel the pressure on that regard.
Anton Shopler here on the back of Patty. I believe Patty has just got through on the timing tower while I was trying to look on board. Ramsey Jimenez at Evan Davis. That legend said the Shark Stag. Could be its name. Gold with a shark tail, says Ryan Racing. The Shark Stanners. Evan Davis is out of this race.
What's going on?
What has happened to Evan Davis? Is that just a blip? It seems a little bit more than a blip because he's been out for quite the time. This is a huge turn of events in this championship race. Evan Davis has gone from the race, and the Shark Stan he's been captured and is out. Evan Davis is tumbling down the timing towers. He is out of this race. This promotes Ramsey Jimenez up into second place. Declan Denarin now fighting for that podium position. But the championship turns on its head. Parks Miller will surely gain the 9 points. Herschel will come back into contention. Sauber will get a few more back as well. Absolutely crazy scenes. 25 minutes in. Pit window open roundabout now as well. Between now and the 35-minute mark is when you ideally need to pit to get to the end of this race. But a huge talking point. Evan Davis out of this race, Tristan.
Yeah, I don't know if this is due to some kind of external power outage or maybe some kind of failure around his rig, but this is the worst time for it to happen coming into the penultimate round. He needs the points on the board here to chase down on Parks Miller and Andrew Herschel, and unfortunately, he's just thrown away possible winnings of near 100 points in this race. So that is not going to do him any favors. And it does look like a game crash or a possible internet outage. He does have a lot of supporters in the virtual grandstand. Maybe they can let us know shortly what on earth has gone on there with Evan Davis. And I was so hoping that was a blip. I mean, I saw the out badge and I was wanting it to come back after 3 or 4 seconds. But then I just started to see the car drop. And the fear started to ignite in me there. Unfortunately, the shark was captured and cut into sushi and moved all the way to the backside of the grid. That is so unfortunate there for Evan Davis. So let's hope. I seem to just be absolutely killing Matthew. He's got his camera on and the poor man's at the back of his room. So we'll give him a second to recover there. Denarin, though, is now got a good chance for second. Yeah, he's putting pressure on Jimenez. And I did see a comment there from Gordon Mulling saying, when are we thinking the pit windows are going to start. Probably about 28 minutes to 35 minutes is our normal pit stop window. So keep your eyes peeled now, Gordon, if you are wanting to see those pit stops happening. It could potentially happen in the next couple of laps.
This is what's happened to Ken Majuri then. So he's coming through what looks to be NASCAR bend then. The tree just gets in the way. Car in front of him just off the circuit for a moment. And Ken Majuri just carries too much speed in towards the beginning of the snake, loses the rear, catches it and gets back onto the circuit there then. So the Shark may not win the race, but the Golden Pigeons are out front leading this one at the moment, followed by then these two, Dienarine and Jimenez, for second and third. Dienarine's got a race win. He's been on the podium this season. Ramsey got a podium in race 2 at Sebring, and I actually found out this week that podium, he doesn't score podium points, or it doesn't go down as a podium on the points thing because of the fact that it was Format B. So it's a tally of both points together. So even though he finished on the podium, it's a tally of who scored the most points together for the outright podiums of the race. So this could be his first outright podium in terms of the points scored for Ramsey Jimenez. Still will be on the podium because they are 7 seconds up the road from Parks Miller. But Jimenez here, what I like about this race circuit is this is a driver's circuit. You've got to really drive this one. And you may think in the virtual grandstand that I'm talking absolute nonsense. You have to drive every circuit. This is where Declan Dienarine will earn his points and will earn that second place by overtaking Ramsey. It's so easy to defend around here. So easy to defend. So this is a driver's circuit where the driver has got to do all of the work. Or the driver in front could make that one mistake. And it's really a tricky sort of track. If you're from the UK, picture Alton Park for a second. Similar to that. Less bumpy, but similar to Alton Park. Tight, narrow, twisty, easy to defend. It's just so simple to do around this circuit. That's what makes these tracks so unique, so special. As we've got this fantastic train of cars all behind Lewis Holloway at the moment. This is Jimmy Carroll getting close to the back of Woods, coming down through the roller coaster. And we can see Jimmy Carroll is the biggest gainer as well. 14 places gained in this race. Now I'm just going to check my timing screens at the moment. Davis hasn't got back in either. So I was going to say if he got back in, he could try and score points for 28th position, but he's yet to come back into the lobby. As here comes Colin Flynn, having a look just slightly on the outside line of that of Vincent in the BMW in front of him in towards the horseshoe. Is he going to try for the up and under? Yes, he is. The Corvette powers through mid-corner. And what a move that is from Colin Flynn. Absolute textbook stuff there from the American.
Yeah, good move there from Colin Flynn to get up back into 19th, trying to recover the 7 positions lost overall in this race. This is now Nicholas Larasso trying to hold off of Alex Altericio as they head up into the snake and upwards, up the hill here of Virginia West and up towards South Bend they will go. It looks like Nicholas Larasso is going to keep the lead here. It's very difficult to overtake in this specific section. Like Matthew mentioned, a very easy track to keep yourself up in front. There is a very few spots around the circuit to actually lose out. But unfortunately, it does tend to happen. And now Nicholas Larasso is going to have the worst possible chance of defense here due to the likes of Altericio being so close behind. He's under an entire 10th here. And this could potentially be a make or break coming into the roller coaster section right on that rear bumper. And Altericio is going to break onto the inside line here. Isn't going to be enough, though. Heading down to the roller coaster. It is going to be too wide. And they start their embarkment down towards Hog's Pen. And it all looks like contact between the two of them. Nicholas Larasso is still going to keep the lead here. And Altericio trying to fight it out behind. Just not able to get ahead. And will have to remain behind Parks Miller. Will have to remain behind Nicholas Larasso there. So good, a bit of fighting going on there. Parks Miller, your first driver into the pit lane. As it currently stands, Nicholas Larasso and Kingston Mullings also join in. Havdal and Ware are going to keep with each other as they head down towards turn 1 of Horseshoe here. And it looks like Ware is going to have the inside line. Will he have the advantage to keep this position up? Or is he going to lose out? 12 positions up already. Way later on the brakes here for the likes of Alan Ware. Let's hope that doesn't disadvantage him on the exit. And it looks like he's actually managed to keep it up. They're good moves up on the inside. This is Jimmy Carroll and the likes of Archie Woods. Jimmy Carroll starting from the backside after a quali ban. And Woods is going to lose 3 positions in one corner just from remaining on the outside line. Yeah, he's actually going to just get back ahead of Flynn. But unfortunately, the door was left wide open there. And Kamari Odom saw the shot and jumped straight up on the inside into 14th. Good move there. Archie Woods will now try and fight his way back with Colin Flynn down in 16th.
Well, indeed, I'm seeing in the chat that it was a PC crash for Davis in this one. As you can see, the pit stops being made out there at the moment. Alan Ware dropping down the order. He's lost us 3 places just a moment ago. There he is, slow and recovering. And does that look like damage on the front right of Alan Ware's car? That front right wheel did not look like it was rotating very well as he was off the track there. So I'm wondering if something's a little bit broken on the front of Alan Ware's car. And he's going to have to try and drag that back to the pit lane in this race. But Colin Flynn now back up. Oh, no, it is rotating quite nicely, but he is still off the circuit. So I would have it to guess, yeah, something doesn't look quite right with that car. That front right is pointing inwards a little bit more than I feel it should. And he's staying off the tracks. That would have it to guess to me that something isn't quite right with that car, because otherwise he'd have just surely come back onto the racetrack here to get back up to full speed. But he's happily to sit on the grass and allow these drivers to go. There you can see the extent of the damage. Yeah, so we'll try and get a replay of what has happened to Alan Ware as Declan Denerin and Vigard Henriksen into the pit lane they come. So that allows Altericio, Saber and Havdal to move up position. There is Parks Miller, who's done his pit stop, and Declan Denerin trying to go for the undercut now over Ramsey Jimenez as well in this race. And we'll see what happens at the moment here. We're going to try and get the replay for that one. Colin Flynn, though, made his way up a couple of places. Now back to where he started in this race. And how good a job, Tristan, tonight has Andrew Herschel done. Been absolutely untouchable in qualifying and in this race so far.
Yeah, he's just been in a completely different mind state for this round. Here we look to have the replay with Alan Ware. This must have been a substantially huge knock, so potentially completely diving off the circuit right into a barrier somewhere. Let's see what's happened to him. That he was crabbing hard on the main straight. So this is over the bumps of the snake. And yep, there's your front end damage. Nice front end punt into the tire barrier. And that is going to do suspension completely. And that's why we see the 90 degree turning left on that car to just keep it rolling straight. So that explains the difficulty there for Alan Ware to even just get the car back onto the tarmac. And let's see how that goes for him.
We need to give, sorry, Tristan, we need to give big props to Jim Cunningham there. He says it wasn't very easy to find. So well done, Jim, on finding that replay for us. Well done, Jim, on finding us that replay. Race leader and Ramsey Jimenez into the pit lane as here goes side by side Archie Woods and Colin Flynn. Flynn's on a charge here. If you remember, he was off on lap 1. He's on a charge at the moment. Is Colin Flynn into the roller coaster, makes another move, and that Corvette is dicing its way through the field at the moment.
Yeah, trying to see what he can do. This is a good momentum, though, for Colin Flynn. He's worked all of those bad positions away. He's gone from 7 positions down back up to where he started in this event. Obviously, a couple of our drivers have jumped into the pit lane, himself included now. And this is where we are seeing the majority of our cars coming in. No. Carroll gets a black flag on entry and looks like he's just speeded into the pit lane there, unfortunately. The first black flag of the day. And so he's going to have to go another time around through the pit lane to get that penalty served. Unfortunate there for him. And speeding in should be a stop hold. Let's see. He's missed his pit box as well. He's gone up on the jacks here, so he hasn't been stopped just as of yet. I'm not 100% sure what the repercussion is going to be here for Jimmy Carroll. But yes, usually going in is a stop-go. You can see the timing on the bottom side. Carroll is highlighted in the orange. And so currently 40 seconds in the pit box. We've gone off of him for the time being. You can see him there down in 15th position, all the way down in 18th now. That pit box is staying on for quite some time. The rest of the drivers doing roughly 22, 21 seconds. Carroll still in that box. So I think Carroll is serving a stop-go here. Yeah. And this is going to drop him all the way down to 19th spot. Saba on the backside of Altericio here, seeing what he can do and going to take up on the inside line. Yeah, Saba, great move up on the inside, going into turn number 3. And now into the SS he's going to go, keeping the stride up in 6th position. And hopefully it will continue to put pressure. Yeah, Shopler gets a black flag as well, down in 19th. That's your first track limit black flag that he'll have to work off of.
Tell you what, Declan Denery must have had a nightmare of an outlap here because he was with under a second to Ramsey Jimenez. The pit stop time was only 9/10 difference, but he's now 5.3 seconds behind Ramsey. So Denery must have had a nightmare of an outlap, or Ramsey's just had a brilliant inlap, because 5 seconds from what was a couple of tenths is crazy as Havdal now into the pit lane. So let's wait and see what happens in this race so far. Been told there was 3.5 seconds difference on the total pit time. I'm about to show you now the total pit time. There you go. So Ramsey Jimenez, look, 22 seconds. Declan Denerin, 22. Oh, that's the pit time in the box. So there you go. Yeah, there's the 3.4 seconds he lost in the pit. So yeah, Denerine, something happened in and out of the pits there for him to fall way behind Ramsey Jimenez at the moment. But we'll keep our eyes on that. Shopler still with that black flag to his name. And here comes Archie Woods on the back of Vincent in this race. Where is Parks Miller? Parks Miller is now up into 4th. So Parks Miller trying to score big and capitalise over that of Evan Davis not being here at the moment. Jimmy Carroll as well. You'll notice it is 1 minute 33.9 in the pits. So that is showing... Sorry, that's total time in the pit lane. His time in the box was 1 minute 7. So just showing there the extent of the penalty they had to serve in the pit lane.
Yeah, so from that time in the box, the Inarine's total time definitely came from missing his pit box somewhere. Definitely the same rough time actually sitting in the box compared to the rest, but Parks Miller actually the fastest in the top 10 in terms of pit stop strategy. He was a 45.6 compared to 47 the rest of the drivers. So that has put Parks Miller in an aggressive spot in 4th position here, potentially to chase onto the podium spot here. 3.5 seconds to get onto the backside of Denerine. Is it going to be enough? Is the real question here for Caden Parks Miller. So let's see if he can chase this down. 3.4 seconds. And I'm seeing the virtual grandstanders just saying, can Parks Miller and Andrew Herschel just completely DNF this race? Unfortunately, no, that's not how racing works. They will take the free advantage and grab some points, so they will work with that. I see Matthew wants to mention something he's seeing.
A comment from Haley Batson, and I just double-checked the website with the points on it. Can he use this as his throwaway, his drop round? He could indeed, because I don't believe there's a cut-off on the drop round, is there, if I'm correct? So he would actually gain 34 points, because that is his lowest score at the moment. So that would be 34 points plus the 9 he's had of Parks Miller. So realistically, yes, he'd gain 34 points back. It's not all doom and gloom. It will keep him in that championship contention. If you want me to put some doom and gloom on it, Caden Parks Miller is about to score 80. So the 35 points, the 45 points that Davis would be ahead of Parks Miller, he will roughly be that behind Parks Miller going into next week, if it stays as it is.
Well, I think he's definitely going to use the drop then for this round. If he says lowest is 34, this race is a theoretical 0, so he's definitely going to swap those two out. But like we mentioned, 34 points versus the 80 that Parks Miller is about to score is still a humongous 50-point difference. That would have to mean that next round, we're not the ones who do the calculation, thankfully. The stewards are going to give us the final results coming into round 8 to let us know what the championship standings are going to look like. But it might then be a championship fight here for Herschel and Parks Miller, or it could potentially be right on the lip for Davis, depending on if he wins next week. This is all going to come into a calculation that will be thrown up at the end of this race, and we will then bring it to you at the next week's round for round number 8 of 8 going into St. Petersburg. So that will be quite interesting to see. A new track for most of these drivers as it's newly introduced to iRacing, so no long-term experience that can be thrown onto that circuit, which is going to prove to be an ultimate showdown of just pure driving skill and class here in the AM and Pro Division. Saba now getting the pressure here from Altericio, looking up on the inside, coming into roller coaster, but Altericio is going to play the smart move. I thought he was going to dive, but fortunately he does not. That could have turned bad between the two of them, and now Altericio is still just staying on the back, seeing what he can do to get ahead of Altericio. Saba did dip a tire there on the exit of Hog's Pen, and so this is going to give Altericio the best opportunity to move up with 20 minutes or so left in this race to go.
Yeah, I've just done a few calculations there. So with the 9 points difference that it is at the moment, plus the points that Parks Miller may score today and the drop round that Evan Davis will get back, Parks Miller will probably lead by 37 points. Now, that would mean, as it stands at the moment, going into next week, Evan Davis would need to win the race with Parks Miller finishing 9th or lower. But that's at the moment, that's with all calculations that I've done. I might not be fully correct on that race. The stewards and the organisers will obviously tally up the points, and we'll find them out next week before the broadcast, during the qualifying session to bring you. So that's a rough estimation at the moment. It could be a 37-point swing for Caden Parks Miller as it stands, but this race has still got 19 and a bit minutes left out there on the clock at this moment in time. The big gainer, Andrew Herschel, who was at the moment 51 points back, is really going to gain over Parks Miller and Evan Davis. Saba as well. If Saba can, now he's ahead of Altericio, if he can get closer to that of Saba, of Parks Miller, Could he maybe then just chip away at a few more points also? So a lot to play for, a lot to wait and see what will happen. But all we know is this fight at the moment, Saba, Altericio, LaRusso and Henriksen all together at the moment. You've got Odom on the back of Holloway, and then the gaps have just strung out few and far between on this grid here at Virginia International Raceway. And a great battle we've seen. Great clean racing from the AM drivers as well. I was expecting a little bit more of chaos in terms of some of the overtakes, but we've seen some fantastic racing from all the drivers up and down the field here today at the moment. And yeah, Andrew Herschel has just been untouchable. He's been absolutely fantastic. Altericio, though, having to trying to look and have a run, looking to the outside, tried to think about maybe just tucking underneath, but was a little bit closer to the back of Saba's car there than I think he thought, looking for the up and under, and Andrew Saba parks it on the apex. Bit of contact on the rear from Altericio. Now he's on the back foot over LaRusso as they coming towards turn 2 and that of NASCAR Bend. Here comes Henriksen as well, just a little deep under the braking at turn 3 of NASCAR Bend. And thankfully, they all stay as they are. But Altericio definitely tapped the rear bumper there of Saba as they're coming towards the snake and under Michelin Bridge.
Yeah, that was a good opportunity there for the likes of Altericio, and they're just unfortunately making contact on the rear there of Saba. Good strategy though from Saba to keep him parked on the apex, and so Saba will now keep 5th position just up ahead of Altericio as they continue going. Yeah, about, like we say, 17 or so minutes left to go in this race. Not much time on the board left for all of our drivers. Yeah, Herschel still leading with that 8.2 second gap, and Deanarine behind with that 4.5 second gap to Jimenez, which is unfortunately not subsiding at the moment. Parks Miller has caught up an entire second though in the past 3 or 4 laps here, so this could potentially be an attack on Parks Miller to Deanarine in 4th to 3rd. I did just see him blink, and that gave us a bit of PTSD from what we saw with Evan Davis. But looks like he's back. This is what we would have wanted for Evan Davis, but unfortunately it just didn't work out that way. Patty and Lopez do get themselves 2 yellow flags down the 19th and 20th, so they'll have to work those 2 off. Coming up towards the inside of this race, they'll probably do it in this lap, and the rest of our drivers still trying to see what they could do out on circuit. Altericio is going to throw his second attempt here at Saba, but LaRusso and Hendrickson are also starting to close up on the rear side here to potentially turn this into a 4-way battle from 6th down to 8th position here between all of these drivers. 5th down to 8th, apologies, between those 4 cars. And now it looks like Altericio looking up on the inside. He's now going to dive up on the outside line here of Saba. Is it going to be enough on the outside here of Horseshoe? I'm not too sure if it is going to be enough. But it looks like Saba is still going to hold up on the outside line here, coming into convert into the inside for the next couple of corners, and Saba is on an absolute defense masterclass here to keep 5th position, keeping Altericio at bay, just not able to find any kind of traction to get around that other Ford Mustang, and so those two will continue fighting it out. Coolidge is also on the backside of Lopez. That's the battle for 20th at the time being out on the circuit. The rest of the drivers have distanced themselves a little bit out in the circuit. You can see all the white number figures on the left-hand side of your screen. A couple of oranges, though, which is what we like to see, and that is the one we're currently watching between these two. Once again, Altericio within its striking distance here of this event, but through this S's section as they come up towards South Penn and Oak Tree, just not much opportunity. He's going to look up on the outside of Oak Tree here, but not enough space to make that move happen. Now coming onto the exit of turn number 1 of Oak Tree, apologies, heading onto the straight. This is going to be his best chance. 2.5 tenths behind. He needs the slip in order to try and attack up on the inside of Roller Coaster.
Yeah, indeed he is. And I'll tell you what, Andrew, that Saba's doing brilliantly. As an avid British touring car fan, I'm loving the fact that I'm seeing him parking it on the apex, like you see a lot in the British touring cars, parking it on the apex, just rolling the car through and just getting the power down when he wants to, making that of Altericio just sit and wait. And that's what led to that bump a lap or two ago from Altericio on the back of Saba, because Saba is just defending absolutely brilliantly. And to answer the question of Ryan Racing in the chat, Herschel would be 33 points off the back of Caden Parks Miller in this one. Lopez has got past Coolidge for 20th and 21st, but here comes Altericio. Let's stay on board with Altericio a minute if we can, Jim, because I just want to show you what I mean about Saba at the minute. Look at this. Altericio's trying to get that up and under, but Saba just parks on the apex, just waits before getting that power down, and it's just delaying Altericio getting out of the horseshoe corner. And it's allowing Saba to keep in front, not understeering too wide, not drifting too wide by putting the power down too early. Saba is just parking it on the apex. Battle behind these two as well. LaRusso and Henriksen are going at it also. And it looks like Henriksen has got past LaRusso for that 6th and 7th place then, and they've got Havdal and Mullings gaining on the back of them too. So LaRusso has lost out to the Ferrari now, but Sauber defending like an absolute lion at the moment.
Yeah, he's really not giving Altericio any kind of ground yet to make any kind of overtake. Hendrickson will also start to feel the pressure there from Larusso in the background, potentially as we close up towards the final 10 minutes here. Like we like to call it, the window of desperation, those final 10 minutes for a driver to potentially make an overtake happen with only 10 minutes left to go here. Now we're seeing Altericio once again. He's in a much closer striking distance here, and now he's already claimed the inside line coming into roller coaster. This is dangerous for Sauber. He can defend as all he wants, but this is going to be a difficult one to defend here, as Altericio is now going to occupy the inside line as they come down towards Hog's Pen slightly later on the brakes here for Andre Sauber, and once again is just going to defend and park it on the apex once more, and just using the absolute defense masterclass still going on here around VIR, and Sauber doing all the correct strategies at this incredibly tight circuit to keep himself up ahead in 5th position. And Altericio is just having a bit of a field day there behind, not able to do any kind of justification to get up ahead here. This is eventually going to pull them into the bit of the battle that's happening there with Hendrickson and Larusso, so they've got to watch out behind to potentially close in on that gap. You can see that Hendrickson has now closed into 5/10, so this could potentially go 4-way between these 4 cars here. Sauber still leading it though, with Altericio behind, and coming up to about 12 minutes left of racing here. Not much time left to go on the board between these drivers. It's incredibly tight between the Ford Mustang battle, and then a bit of a 296 in between, and that's a little bit late coming in from Altericio, a bit desperate up on the inside line there. And once again, it's actually going to throw him into a huge disadvantage because he's going to go off into the gravel, and this has completely opened the door here for the likes of Hendrickson. Altericio and Larusso are going to get both yellow flag slowdowns, and so he's completely thrown away his chance here of chasing up to Sauber. Now Hendrickson and Larusso are both going to get up ahead here. Unfortunately for Altericio, that is what happens when you try and make a late inside move. It does kind of throw you off of your current trajectory, and that is what has happened to him. He's lost out to Hendrickson, and Larusso's on the back now, potentially making an attack. Mullings and Havdal have also joined in on the background here now, so this is a huge battle for fifth place. Huge battle of 6 cars all the way up to 5th place here. So Sauber leading this long train. How is this going to go though heading into the final 10 minutes? We'll have to wait and see, because it looks like all of these cars are just wanting to defend at the moment.
312 Ronnie, no game audio. Yep, we do know that there is no game audio. We have been struggling with the sounds of the cars out there at the moment. We're all trying to get this one sorted for the pro race coming up a little later on. Do stick around for that pro race. Should be an absolutely fantastic battle around Virginia International Raceway. So we do apologise for the lack of car or in-game audio out there. We have been running into a few technical issues on that one. As Kingston Mullins there, losing out that of Havdal, coming out down the start finish straight then. 10-11 minutes to go left on the clock in this race, and plenty more action in store. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one, as I'm seeing that bad news, Davis has used his throwaway already. I was led to believe that it is just your lowest round is your throwaway score. I don't think you elect which one it is. I believe it is just your lowest round. I could be wrong. So we'll see on what, like we said, we'll see what the points come in as next week heading into St. Petersburg. But this is a great fight for P5, because Fox, Miller, Dianarine, Jimenez and Herschel, pretty much, barring a mistake from one of them, look like they're going to finish as they are. This is all for 5th place between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars in this train at the moment. And it's now Vigard Henriksson who's having the chance to attack that of Sauber. He got past his teammate of Altericio in the same stable. There is no teammates out there. It is all solo driver championships, as Henriksson has actually looked like he's getting the move done on Sauber further forward. Then they are side by side, and has Altericio has Henriksson got the move done? No, he hasn't, and that's a spinner in the background. That is Havdal, who got it a little sideways, stamped on the brakes, pointed it in the right direction, and Carsten Havdal there then carries back on their way in this race. But for a brief moment, Henriksson was ahead of Sauber, so now the Ferrari just starting to put the pressure. And Tristan, what we're seeing in this race, we're not seeing that utter Ford dominance. Jimenez in the Mercedes, couple of Ferraris running at the sharp end of the field here, putting on a display over the Ford Mustangs.
Yeah, it definitely looks like we've got a little bit more of a grid diversification up and towards the top 10 here. Good to see a couple of the Ferraris and also the Mercedes up at the top spots there. So the Ford Mustang, just not that strong that I would have hoped for yet at VIR. The technicality of the circuit is proving to be quite advantageous to your mid-engine cars, and now it looks like Henriksson is going to make one more attempt here. The other tribute car for the Race 4G Sports team is now going to take the outside line again. The two are following in the same wake between each other. Altericio and Hendrickson doing the same things to try and get ahead here of Saba, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. However, he is on the inside line. You're heading into turn number 3, and he's got the best possible opportunity here, and it looks like he has finally got it. Saba just unable to keep the Ferrari behind. The better rotation there from the mid-engine car has thrown the advantage into the mid-packs here, into the mid-sector here of the circuit, and now Altericio needs to try his hand at it as well. So the two teammates can potentially try and run away here with 5th and 6th position, but Saba is blocking that from happening for the time being. Larusso and Mullings also dropped off slightly in the background, 1.1 seconds, and then Havdal now 3.5 out of the battle at the moment for top 5 after that spin-off at Oak Tree that he's got to now try and work back. But Altericio, he needs to try and find a clear spot here for this to happen. Into Oak Tree he's going to go. He's going to run wide and touch the gravel on the exit. That's not going to do him well for his rotation. And then again, he's going to touch it once more on the exit curb here. So this is thrown away all speed that he's generated for the straight here. And now it looks like Saba will be able to hold off on this one for the time being, 4 tenths behind the likes of Saba. And Saba currently 1.5 tenths to Vigard Hendrickson. This could potentially go the other way around once again for these top runners in the top 5, as Hendrickson looking to defend from Saba. Now a black flag there for Alan Ware down in 24th. So another driver getting themselves a black flag due to track limits exceeded. I was expecting to see a little bit more here, but it looks like our drivers started to behave towards the inside of this race. 8 minutes left to go around the circuit here for the AMs. We've still got one more category coming off the pros, and that's coming to you a little bit later on once this race concludes. But for the time being, that battle for 5th is still the most active out on the field to see who can take the top 5 spot here. Hendrickson, Saba, Altericio, or Larusso.
I just want to clarify something up. I've gone into the rules. The drop scores rule applies as only a driver's seven highest scoring meetings contribute to their points total. So that, to me, the way that rule is written and I read it, means that his round here today of 0 will count as his throwaway round. So he will gain the 34 points of his drop round back. That is how I'm reading the rules. That is how the rules are written. So so today will be the drop round, the throwaway round for that of Evan Davis. Henriksen's got clear of Saba now. And once again, we're seeing Altericio not being able to do what Henriksen has done and get past that Ford Mustang. He's trying every way he can. In towards Oak Tree, they come now. He takes that wider line in just to open the corner up, on then towards Madison Avenue, down the back stretch. But he loses so much momentum out of the exit of Oak Tree onto this straightaway. By just opening up that corner, he almost seems to lose a tenth or two, and that puts him on the back foot, Tristan, going down the straight. But we'll see what happens. We're into the pits to serve his penalty. LaRusso's got Kingston Mullins behind him. Lewis Holloway's on the back of May. Down the order, we got Kamari Odom and Woods also duking it out for 14th and 15th position on the track there. Saba with just a little wiggle through the roller coaster as they come through in towards the final couple of corners now, that of the Hog Pen, and onto the start-finish straight. So just under 6 minutes remaining in this race. Ken Majori's just got ahead of Uvan Sandirigama for position there. But a great little fight this now for P6. Here goes out of Altericio once again. Landon Batson back into pits. Altericio's going to look the long way around. And is he going to try and tuck underneath? No, he's going to try and do what his teammate did and go the long way around, but can't get it done. So what Henriksen managed to do over Saba, Altericio can't get that job done. And this is just allowing Saba to hold on in there for P6 at the moment, as this is Kamari Odom and Archie Woods going at it. And that's Kamari Odom getting back up the inside.
Yeah, good move there from the Porsche driver. The number 92 moves back up on the inside into 14th. Archie Woods will look to make one more attack here in the final 6 minutes. Saba is going to get himself a slowdown here, and so Hendrickson has completely run away with 5th position for the time being. Altericio has also lost out to Saba, and so that battle is actually for 6th position now, no longer 5th position. Yeah, Saba's got that slowdown for the time being that he needs to work off, and so this is going to give Altericio the chance to catch up here. It's still not served according to the overlay, and so unfortunately for Saba, he's going to need to drop even more time here. This is going to be at risk here for potentially being attacked by Altericio. Larusso is also looking on the backside backside. A little bit of contact between the two, I believe, just as he pulls out onto the straight, and this is going to be the time there for Saba. Unfortunately, he loses all that momentum from having to slow down, and now this is actually going to open the door for attack here from Nicholas Larusso up on the inside line here as they come up into the roller coaster section up towards Hogpen, and it looks like indeed Altericio is going to lose out 2 spots there on the back straight. So good move there from Larusso and Altericio. They both move up into 6th and 7th spot there, and Saba all the way down to 8th position for the time being. Mullings is on the background there in the final 4 minutes of fighting here. Will Mullings be able to get up ahead of Saba? He's got the run heading onto main straight here. Unfortunately, Saba has lost all of his speed exiting onto the main straight out of the final corner here, and Kingston Mullings is going to go side by side in that Borderlands Foxxtecca livery. It looks like he's going to hold the outside. Will it be enough though to spring to the inside, or is he going to try the switchback maneuver? He's actually going to try it, and now unfortunately they're going to go right behind each other. For the time being, Mullings will have to resort to sitting behind Saba for the time being. Now up on the inside line, looking to see if he can attack, and it's a good move up on the inside there for Kingston Mullings. The young gun finds the spot up on the inside of the likes of Andre Saba and gets 8th position. Good move there from Kingston Mullings and moving up into 8th position. Saba has been on a decrease though this race, all the way from 5th down to 9th, just from a couple of overtakes in these closing moments, and that has completely thrown his race away for the top 5. Costin Havdal, to add salt to the wound after spinning out, has also gotten a yellow flag, so we'll have to slow that car down before the end of this lap in order to get that penalty not given to that car. Kamari Odom and the likes of Archie Woods still down in 14th, fighting it out to see if Kamari Odom can get back ahead. Yeah, this is going to be a tight one between these two with only 2.5 minutes left to go. Yeah, this is starting to get very close, and Andrew Herschel still uncontested, yeah, for the win of this race.
Yeah, but Caden Parks-Miller has gone onto the rear of Declan Tienarine. How that will change the championship even more if Caden Parks-Miller can get himself onto that podium. That's the battle for the final step of the podium. What we got? 2 laps left to go in this race. So for Caden Parks-Miller here, he's really got to try and work hard to get ahead of that giant Ford Mustang. The Ferrari driver knows what he's got to do. He will know that Evan Davis is probably out of this race, especially if he's got a spotter or somebody in his chat telling him that Evan Davis is out. He knows he needed to get a move on score to try and maximise the points he can in this one. Let's wait and see what happens. This, sadly, for Saba, by the way, down in 9th place, will probably put him out the championship contention going into next week, and will probably put Ramsey Jimenez closer to the back of him. So battle for 4th in the championship there. Well, it'll be Herschel, Parks-Miller and Davis duking it out at St. Petersburg for that top 3. But for Caden, as this is down with Kamari Odom, looking back up the inside of that of Woods. Gets the move done in the Porsche. Nice little corner. Drifts it out to the outside line, which will then cover the inside going in towards 2 and 3. And Woods there just trying to squeeze a nose up the inside of Kamari Odom. Odom runs a little wide, and Woods there, you saw, just braked and backed out of that. Maybe there was a small bit of contact that Woods thought, no, I don't want to put past him in that manner, so I'm just going to tuck behind and wait to do it again. But good little fight between the two of them. Saba still on the back of Kingston Mullins as well. So fight starting to develop as we do enter that territory. Under the Michelin Bridge goes Kamari Odom and Archie Woods. As through up through the S's, there you go now. But yeah, into the territory of coming on to the final lap of this race. There's Andrew Herschel is about to start it. So we will get one more lap in. And now it is all or nothing for that of Caden Parks-Miller on the back of Declan Tienarine. Altericio, by the way, since being released from Saba, has just set the fastest lap on the last lap here. As Parks-Miller dives to the outside line, coming through the hog pen, tries to get the run, backs out of it. Knew he'd have got that slowdown because he went off the circuit there. And Parks-Miller trying to throw the kitchen sink at this one. On the final lap they go.
Yeah, onto the final lap they go, and this is the most important battle at the moment for the top 3 because Parks-Miller is looking to potentially contest here coming into the final lap here and seeing if Parks-Miller can potentially get up into 3rd spot here. Tienarine is going to be on the absolute defensive charge, trying to keep him at bay here. We are officially on white flag lap as Herschel goes through the mid-pack of the circuit up towards South Bend and Oak Tree. So let's see how they can fend for themselves. But for the time being, it is all defensive play here for Tienarine. Parks-Miller is going to try everything in the books to throw at him. He's even flashing him behind to see if he could potentially throw a bit of intimidation that way. But now for Parks-Miller, he's just got to try and make one clean overtake here. No off tracks allowed at this current time being. He knows it's going to slow him down too much. He needs to get right behind Deanarine on the back straight here in order to get up towards Roller Coaster and make an attack. He's now going to go on the outside line slightly sharper, and this is going to be the run for it. Almost side by side between the two of them now. About 1/10 between the two of them here, and Parksmiller is going to have the slipstream advantage. The question is, which side is he going to pick? It's still not close enough to pick a confirmed side, and Parksmiller will have to sit in the wake. This is coming up to final lap now. The final couple of corners before the end of this race. Herschel is indeed coming across the checkered flag line now to take the win. And what a win it's been for the Super Lap Golden Falcons to take the win of this race. Ramsey Jimenez is going to get his first official podium in this season, which is incredible to see. But for these two, duking it out for the final spot of the podium, and it looks like Deanarine is going to keep the defense right on at bay, and unfortunately Parksmiller just not enough to get up ahead, and he will have to sit confirmed in 4th position. Hendrickson, after a hard-fought battle, gets up into 5th place and will get that stride moving on. Altericio, his teammate behind, will take 6th position. So good move there from the Race 4G Sports team. The rest of the drivers all stacking up behind. Saba will get 9th, and Karstien Havdal rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, great fight. Parksmiller chucked everything at that one, didn't he, at the very end, but sadly just couldn't get that momentum over the line. But what a drive from Andrew Herschel. Odom lost out to Woods at the very end of the race as well, so Archie Woods will claim that 14th place from Kamari Odom, and we just wait for the mid-pack to come across the line. But yep, great drive from Herschel there. Ramsey Jimenez podium on his home circuit, as here comes Caden Coolidge, one of the drivers we're waiting to cross the line, and Declan Deanarine. Parksmiller, though, even though he tried to throw everything at that one for 3rd place, he will be so happy with the points he's picked up here today. Didn't run into any issues, didn't have any dramas, kept it clean, did what he needed to do, and comes away with a good chunk of points with Davis retiring. So he will take that amount of points here at the moment as Ramsey Jimenez areas. We saw the emotions from the young man, 17 years of age. We saw the emotions last week when he got his first podium there, and now he's got one again today. And the bonus is we should be able to get driver interviews in, because with it being the Format A, we do have that little bit more time to just get the service changed over. So we should be able to get some more interviews in today. So we'll see. And you just see the delight there on his home circuit. No better feeling than that. Here he is showing his delight. But Andrew Herschel, yeah, Tristan, take nothing away from the man. Great job for Ramsey P2, but Herschel, dominant in qualifying, dominant in the race.
Yeah, just absolutely nobody could catch that stride of the Ford Mustang up at the top. And what an incredible motive there. Leonard Batson also getting himself a top 20 spot for himself. Andrew Herschel does take P1 in this race. Ramsey Jimenez takes 2nd. Declan Deanarine in 3rd. Caden Parksmiller will take 4th, with Viggo Hendrickson down in 5th. It's Alex Altericio with Nicholas Larasso in 7th. Kingston Mullings takes 8th after a momentous recovery from the backside. Andre Saba down 9th. Karstien Havdal in 10th position with Casey Berry and Lewis Holloway in 12th. Peyton May, Archie Woods, Kamari Odom with Colin Flynn, Tristan Vincent, and Dan Gorbatenko. Caden Coolidge, Samuel Patty with Aiden Santiago Lopez. Jimmy Carroll, unfortunately, down to 22nd with that stop and go. Ken Majori down 23rd. Uwin Sandarigama with Alan Ware. Anton Schoppler, Lannon Batson down 27th. Great moves up there. Evan Davis getting that DNF in today's racing, unfortunately. Drew Metcalf in 29th and Manusuesha Minoto in 30th. Troy Anderson, your final driver after DNFing and pulling the car in on first lap, down in 31st position. That's it, though, for your AM category. We're going to be switching over to allow for Jim the most amount of time to get onto the Pro server. Like Matthew mentioned, we should have some time at the end for a couple more AM interviews. So if you're wanting to join in, stay tuned towards the end. We'll see you in a couple moments' time for the Pro race.
We had panels, we had amazing stars there. We had Destiny here, LeVar Scott, Nigel Sylvester, the Steven Smith, Sarah Waste, Ralph Giles.
How's everybody doing?
Wow.
This is cool, right?
Very cool.
We got some time.
Y'all want to give a big shout out to Chris and everybody over at the Foxxtecca team for setting up such an amazing event. Can we give it a round of applause for them real quick, please? Word. I appreciate them having me out. I appreciate Nigel for being here. This is going to be good, man. I'm excited.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
You know, I haven't been to Detroit in quite some time, so I'm happy to be here. And thank you for coming out and joining us. Who that in the back? Yes, sir, with the hand up. That part. There we go. What's that? Better with time? That's love right there. That's love.
You got fans in the audience, man. I love to see it.
Yeah, I love to see it as well.
All right, well, you already kind of took into the first question I had. I was going to ask if you ever been to Detroit. You said it's been a while. How long has it been?
It's been a while. It's probably been over 10 years. I came here, funny enough, they had an Indy race out here, and I came out here with a pretty popular car brand.
Right on.
And they had a 2-seater Indy car that took me for a hot lap, and I enjoyed the race, and it was super cool.
That's awesome. So the Grand Prix that they drive on the street, is that what you went for?
It was definitely a street circuit.
That's too cool, man. That's actually one race event, type of racing event I have never been to before. Like, it seems like an incredible experience to like watch cars race on streets that everybody else is just regularly driving on during the other times that the race isn't going on.
No, of course. I think it's super cool because of the juxtaposition, right? Where like you see street legal cars, and then to see these race cars, these very high power machines on those same exact streets and how they're maneuvering around the circuit is super cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, so let's get right into it, man. Tell us about how like your story started as a kid, coming up, getting into bikes, and then how that kind of molded into what you're doing now.
Yeah, so I grew up in Jamaica, Queens. I'm first generation. Both my mom and my dad from an island called Grenada that Lauren knows about. And as a kid, I was adventurous. I was curious, excited. I think overall I was hyper. And the bicycle provided this outlet for me to express myself in a very authentic way. And I fell in love with bicycle riding at 4 years old. I was at my grandma's house, and at that time she ran a daycare. So there was always a lot of toys around, a lot of bicycles, a lot of different things going on in my grandma's driveway. And I came outside one afternoon, and my cousin was fixing his, I think at the time he had like a GT or a Dyno or something like that, which was a very popular bike during that time for anyone who doesn't know. And I came outside, and there was this big wheeler that was in the driveway. And for some reason, I just got on the big wheeler and I started pedaling as fast as I can. And if you know a big wheeler, like the pedals are on like the front wheel. And something made me just lock up the front wheel. So I just like locked it, and the back of the big wheeler spun around. And my cousin seen it, and he was like, do that again. And seeing his face light up, I was like, okay, dope. I get to impress my cousin by doing this like thing on this big wheeler. So I pedaled really, really fast, and I did it again, and he was like, yo, that's so cool. And he set up these cones in my grandma's driveway, and he said, do that around the cones. And I started to drift my big wheeler around cones in my grandma's driveway at 4 years old, and it changed my life. I fell in love with bike riding at a very exact moment, but I also think the bicycle chose me that day, looking back in hindsight to what my life has evolved into. And actually, the photo was here, but you guys moved it. It was a photo that I took in my grandma's driveway recently.
That's great. Like recently,
but yeah, recently, yeah. So we recently released a shoe with Jordan brand, and the story we told on the shoe was grandma's driveway and referenced that point in time where I fell in love with bicycle riding at 4 years old.
That's amazing, man.
Oh, thank you.
And like, I think a lot of people can relate as a child where bikes were your outlet. You can get away from the house. I know for me, I was confined. I grew up in the suburbs, so I was confined to my actual neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was a pretty decent sized neighborhood, but like going outside of that was like forbidden territory. But you wanted to, man. It was that urge to want to go. So growing up in inner city and like, getting outside of your neighborhood, how far did you venture? Was there like a set spot where you couldn't go past, or did you always push yourself to go a little further?
Yeah, but I'm happy you mentioned that, right? Because the bicycle is this vehicle that promotes exploration. It promotes curiosity and adventure. And just like most kids, right? Like as a kid, I would ride my bicycle around the neighborhood as much as possible, right? And as I got older, I went further and further away, and it went from like, okay, we stayed in Jamaica, Queens, and then now we're going to like Northside Jamaica, like Northside Queens. And then it was like, oh, let's venture into Brooklyn and into the city. And those are like the best days ever, right? Just like riding the bike around, meeting kids from other neighborhoods who also loved bicycle riding. And I truly feel the bicycle is the best way to explore any city, right? Because you're exposed to the elements. You can still smell the food that maybe being cooked at this restaurant here. You can hear the sounds. You can hear music that they may be playing in one neighborhood that they're not playing in another neighborhood. It's just you're exposed to the elements. So I still feel that way now as I travel the world riding my bicycle. I'll get to a city and build my bike up and just ride around and explore. So it's something I did as a kid, and I still continue to do now. And I promote anyone that wants to explore a city or loves bicycle riding to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like you said, that's the first, you know, interaction with independence. You know, you look at it and you go from being a child, and then you get old enough to where you get your license, and then you have your car. So now you're mobile beyond just, you know, again, the neighborhood and even just the city you grow up in. So it's just that first interaction with independence, which is awesome. And it obviously ties in with the whole theme of this whole thing, which is mobility. Right. Starts with the bike for you, and then it goes into sneakers, just even walking around, and then goes into cars. So there's so many different levels to that. But as growing up, what was the shoe that made you fall in love with sneakers, if we get into that?
AJ8.
Okay, any particular colorway?
The aqua colorway. And it's really because I seen like Bugs Bunny wearing them in Space Jam. Like, that was the thing, right? I'm the huge like Bugs Bunny fan and love cartoons. Right, so as a kid, I would also draw a lot. I doodle and draw a lot, and I would like watch cartoons on TV and like draw the characters from like the TV, you know. So Bugs Bunny was one of my favorite characters, and seeing how they linked up MJ and Bugs together, that was a moment that like, man, like I want that shoe, I need it, and like it really set me off on this like path I'm on now in regards to like just like loving sneakers and how I interact with sneakers now.
Right on. So like, do you think that your early age of falling in love with sneakers, and obviously the Air Jordan 8, you mentioned doodling and drawing, did that tie into now that you're a Jordan brand athlete, you have your own, you know, you have your own signature models, did that design curiosity transfer up from when you were a child now into an adult? Like, was that a starting point?
Yeah, it's all connected. You know, like when I think about those early days and my experience with sneakers, or those like touch points, better yet, that was one of them, of course, but also growing up in Queens and seeing like my older brothers and my older cousins and people in the neighborhood and how much like they love sneakers, right? How back to school shopping was a thing, right? You had to go to Jamaica Avenue to the Coliseum block and get a fresh pair like of all white Air Force Ones or Huaraches or Air Maxes, right? It's always been a thing for me growing up. And when I turned pro at 18, Nike was one of my first sponsors. Right, so I grew up in this brand, you know, and looking at sneakers and interacting with sneakers and sneaker culture from that side of the coin was also one of the things that contributed to like my love and affinity for sneaker culture and all the things that surround it.
Yeah. So is there any other aspects of life, and just like with your, you know, obviously riding BMX, that you draw inspiration from for anything? I mean, from whether it be, you know, architecture, like are there any other aspects of life that you draw inspiration from?
Yeah, I draw inspiration from a lot of different things. I think even being here for the past like, at this venue meeting, for the past like hour and a half, just some of the conversations I've been having, like have been super inspiring. Spoke about Grenada, spoke about art, spoke about AI, and spoke about cars, and the conversation we had earlier when we were walking outside and on this side of the venue, and you were just educating me on like why these cars matter so much. I mean, of course, I've seen them before and have an appreciation for them, but you helped me discover a deeper appreciation for them within the past hour. So I appreciate you taking that time. So for me, I find inspiration everywhere. You know, I'm sure as I jump on a plane later and fly back home, I'm going to reflect on everything that I encountered on like in this moment in time here, and something's going to spark an idea for me. Yeah. And that's the part about just living life and being open to conversation and being open to learning things that I love the most.
No, 100%. I mean, I think that's, I mean, truly, I think I was telling somebody recently about how traveling and experiencing culture too, like different cultures all over the world. This is kind of an offshoot, but it's kind of wild to me how people will live their entire lives in a, you know, whether or not their means dictated or not, but like people will willingly stay in this little bubble of their comfort, right? They'll stay in their town or they'll stay in their city. Dude, there's so much world out there. There's so much cool stuff to see, but people don't want to do it because it's not comfortable or it's just like not in their wheelhouse. And it's like, man, you're robbing yourself of so much, like you said, creativity and knowledge and just a bunch of stuff that, you know, the world has to offer. I mean, it's wild that people don't experience that.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm forever grateful for, and bicycle riding has afforded me to see the world, right? And I started traveling when I was 17. And the first like international trip I went on, that was a bicycle trip. I went to Montreal, right? And from there, I've been just traveling the world, experiencing different cultures and being open-minded, being a sponge, and just appreciating like how people live life in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
You know, like you spoke about inspiration. A sector that I find inspiration from is architecture.
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to street BMX riding, the canvas really is everything we see outside, right? So I'm looking at handrails, I'm looking at stair sets, ledges, park benches, just public spaces. That's truly the canvas for me to express myself, right? So where someone may see just like a handrail like that coming off the stage as a utility to just get up and down from the platform, I'm looking at that and saying, okay, I can take my pegs and slide down that handrail, or I can jump over it, right? And that's how I express myself. You know, so to your point of traveling the world, it's like I've traveled the world looking for these different spots to ride. You know, and that's something that within that journey, experiencing, again, different music, cuisine, art, architecture, just culture in general, you know, and that's something I really appreciate and that I love about what I do.
For sure. Is there any particular destination that you've been that has resonated with you the most, just in any aspect, whether it's the culture, the cuisine, the people? Like, is there any place is your top?
I was recently in Tokyo this year to release the shoe I have on right now, and it was an eye-opening experience to say the least. Prior to going to Tokyo this year, I probably haven't been there in about 10 years, and to see the community that supported the release, supports what I do on my bicycle, supports just everything I have going on. Was like humbling to say the least. Then to see how that culture and those people those people use space. It's so intentional in regards to space, which is amazing. So detail oriented, like just the Japanese culture and the people, man. I have so much love and respect and admiration for just how they live life. And being there for 10 days, man, it was from the shopping, from the art, the food, the conversations I had, you know, just walking around and just living and experiencing it, man, that was eye-opening, to say the least, but it was something that, again, I found inspiration and also like motivation when I was there.
Right. Yeah, man, I'm highly jealous. Japan is definitely on my top 3 of places I would love to visit.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
I know the one thing I do love about Japan, aside from their culture and what they have going on, they do support and love Americana. Like, you know, we talked about the cars. They have a humongous American car presence over there, lowriders. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of them doing lowride in like the middle of the Shibuya, that big intersection from like Tokyo Drift. They'll be in there three-wheeling in the intersection. It's so cool, bro.
Yeah, no, they have an insane car culture over there. Like, I was actually eating a bowl of ramen in Shibuya, like one of the last few days I was there, and it wasn't an American car, but it was this Lexus that was dropped with airbags, all blacked out, and I just sat there, just like looked at it. It was super cool. So yeah, the car culture there is insane.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, I mean, you know, going back to movies, which is another aspect of culture. You know, Fast and Furious was something that we grew up on. At least I did. You know, as being a car kid, and you know, it molded a lot of what I put into automotive and like my passion for it. So, you know, to see it and to go and experience it in person has to be incredible. So that actually was one of my questions I was going to ask you was, what was your favorite or one of your favorite stops during the tour of releasing that shoe? Was it Japan or was it?
Yeah, it was definitely Tokyo.
Okay, or Japan.
100%.
Word.
Yeah, we did 2 releases. We did one in New York on the Coliseum block, which I chose that location because I grew up buying sneakers there.
Okay.
You know, like I said, like back to school shopping or just school shopping in general for clothes. I would go there and buy sneakers and fitted hats and jerseys. And the Coliseum block is lined in red bricks. So it ties super well to the storytelling around this AJ4. And then we did the release in Tokyo a week later. And again, the love was overwhelming, right? We did a release at KIF Tokyo, and probably had about 300 kids in line. And then we walked 2 blocks away, and there's another 200 kids in line at this Foot Locker store. So it was just really cool to see the presence and the love on that side of the world for what I'm doing and what I'm building with Jordan Brand.
Where do you find like how your message is getting do you find that social media is like the catapult to how like your success in terms of particularly your releases of your shoes? Do you find that social media is that catalyst to get like your message out there, the design, all the things?
I think social media is an incredible tool to share whatever it is that you have going on and to get real feedback in real time. Mm-hmm. But I think it all starts with the story that you're telling.
Right.
I think that's the true catalyst. Like if you're telling a good story and the content's good and it's presented in the right way and it really resonates with people, then social media is going to help you amplify that.
100%. And we talked about this when we were walking through the exhibits over here. The one thing that I applaud Jordan Brand and yourself and Nike in general this year is that they have been doing an incredible job with the storytelling, with the 85 bread highs. It's beyond just the shoe getting to the store and you standing in line to get the shoe. They have this entire activation where it's like interactive and it's an experience. You're not just going to get the shoe. Another one that was the Nike Levi collection. That was one that I thought was really cool. They had people in there that were actually stitching people's denim for them. Like it wasn't just the jacket and the jeans.
Yeah, that's what it needs to be nowadays, right? If you're gonna put out a sneaker, put out a product in general, people want an experience. Like I'm a consumer and I want an experience. I don't want to. If I'm gonna go spend my hard-earned money, I want to make sure that like entertain me.
Yeah. You want to have a memory about it.
Of course, you want to be able to get some content. You want to be able to go back to your friend circle and like the group chat and like share your experience. So that's how I look at my sneaker releases and my product releases, or even like the content I'm putting out, or whenever I'm interacting with my community, I want to create an experience for them. We recently did I do an event every year called Go Ride, and it's an international bike ride, and Jameson mentioned it when he was introducing me. So this year we did 3 cities in 30 hours. So we started in New York, we did Miami, and we did Mexico City. And we did about 15 miles in each of those cities. And it was an amazing experience to see how the bicycle can really galvanize people from different parts of the world. And yet you have these kids that are riding around with the biggest smiles on their faces, and they're doing tricks, and they're getting to hang out with their friends, and they're creating content. And those are the type of experiences that I feel like people want. So that's like what the focus is for me, so.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I missed the era of, camping out for shoes when that was a big thing in like the mid-2000s before 2010. And I feel like the resurgence of these storytellings and having these activations is what's getting people back outside.
Yeah.
I hate that the sneaker world is kind of healing in a sense where there's general release pairs sitting on shelves. You can actually walk into the mall and buy a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
For a long time, you couldn't do that. But now that, it's kind of healing in that sense. But that used to be the highlight of my, going to the mall on a Saturday, and you could go in and actually try on the shoe.
Right.
That's finally coming back. So again, seeing the storytelling being, told and getting people out to their boutiques and the stores and meeting you at these events, like that's really cool, man.
It's part of it. It's definitely part of it. Yeah, like that was a golden era in sneaker culture, right? And then it got a little too dangerous, and things got a little too hyped, and had to reel it back a little bit. And now I feel it's healthier now, right? Where like a lot of these raffles are able to be like fair raffles where people can enter and have a chance to win. but then like the evolution of that is like what we mentioned, right? It's the experience. It's like the deeper storytelling, right? And
For sure.
people appreciate it.
Yeah. So going back to the bike, man, because obviously you do street BMX, and as a kid I rode a BMX bike. Not trying to compare myself at all, but I'd always try to do tricks and stuff.
Right.
Thankfully, I walked away unscathed, didn't lose no teeth.
Welcome back to the League by Foxxtecca here at Virginia International Raceway. Matthew Duffin and Tristan Herbst in the commentary box. Qualifying is coming to an end. Sadly, we are just still unable to solve whatever the technical issues are with the in-game sound, so apologies for that one. But it is currently David Toth. Oh, we have got it back. We've been told by our producer, we have got it back. It is working. So whatever has just happened there, it is done the trick. So Jim has fixed it. And we go on to yet another pro race here. It's David Toth who leads the way from Marley Joff. Aidan Young sat P3, came into the Sebring round last week. If you remember, Aidan Young, part of the WSR esports team. Roman Pascucci is P4 from Rodrigo Meets. Gail Valero, P6 at the moment from Nicholas Laubish, Gabriel Ivanov, Johan Neshev, Russell Soto, Tyler Carr, Justin Hodge, Kevin Rold. Maya Diederine from Elon Johnson, Eric Holzman, Zoe Ahmed, Dennis Grabowski, Ty Dunnett, and Juliet Johnson in the pit lane. But David Toth at the moment trying to take that pole position here, Tristan, in a qualifying session that he could really do with being out fronting.
Yeah, exactly. He does want to keep himself up at the top for this event with that 44.5. This is the best possible round for Marley Joff to have the assistance of his teammate of Aidan Young. We did get word from our stewards to do all the point scoring that Marley Joff just needs 17. He only needs a 17-point gap after tonight, and then that will crown him as a champion going into round number 8. So that is all going to play into effect here with regards to how this will go between Toth, Joff, and possibly Pascucci, who currently sits down in 5th position, who has also joined in on that championship battle. Gael Valero is also up there. So a lot to play for in the top rankings here in the pro class. Unfortunately, slightly lower numbers compared to our AMs like we normally have. So 20 slots on the grid that have been occupied for tonight's racing. And like we said, David Toth, the 10K rating driver, has done what he needed to do here to keep ahead of the WSR drivers. The question is here, will he be able to keep ahead coming towards the end side of this race? There's no Format B, it's Format A, so there's no middle of the race flip that is going to put David Toth in a bad position. He does start up in top in P number 1. Molly Joff will take second in the WSR Esports team. His teammate Aidan Young sitting just down in 3rd. Rodrigo Meets takes 4th with Roman Pascucci in 5th. Gael Valero in 6th position. Nicholas Laubish in 7th for the fiercely forward team. Gabriel Ivanov in 8th position with Johan Neshev down in 9th. Justin Hodge in 10th for the SR Motorsports with Tyler Clark in 11th. And Russell Soto rounds off your top 12.
P13 for Kevin Rold with 14th place being Elon Johnson. Dennis Grabowski in 15th from Maya Dianarine. Eric Holzpan from Zoe Ahmed. Ty Dunnett and Juliet Johnson down at the back of the field. As this pro race gets underway, we can take a look at the points championship at the moment in this round. And I was scratching my head when we got the message that Marley Joff needs 17 points to win, because I was under the impression that these points are showing with drop score, and there's more than 17 points to play for next week. But hey, we'll see what happens. Marley Joff leads the way, 70, like we said, 7 points clear of Roman Pascucci, who's really been a breath of fresh air in this championship this season. 9 points back is David Toff. Rodrigo Meets is only 31 behind. Gael Valero is 34. Then it's a big jump back to Nicholas Laubish in 6th. Johan Neshev is 7th. From Tyler Carr, Kevin Rold, and then that of Boyshev down in 10th place. You can see the rest of the drivers down the order. 31 drivers we had to start the season here in the pro categories. It's a shame we've seen a few of the drivers just drop off as the season's gone on. But either way, it's been a fiercely competitive pro championship this season, hasn't it? And tonight's one of these circuits that we're going to expect to see your typical kind of pro race. Nice and patient, wait until the very end, wait until that door opens, aren't we, Tristan?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to see slightly extended racing here. No gap in between to flip on the 25 and the 30-minute marker. Just one hour long straight to push us towards the end. It's a pity to see that a couple of our drivers from previous seasons, like Aaron Zurich and Alessandro Torcio, on the board there for the pros. They haven't even attended one race this season. So But weird to see them signing up and paying the entry fees and they're not even participating. So let's hope we get a bit more coming into season number 4, which will be your next season coming up. But as we do officially head into Hogs Pen, your final corner, rounding up towards the start-finish straight, this is going to be all to play for you for David Toth to keep the lead against Marley Joff and Aiden Young behind. They come up towards the checkered starting line now. Rodrigo Meets also in the background there alongside Roman Pascucci. It's going to be a close battle between, and there we go. David Toth is officially off as they head down towards the horseshoe corner here. The two WSR drivers are already feeling the pressure on the outside there from Rodrigo Meets. He's looking to see if he can make some kind of opposition and attack earlier on in this race. Rodrigo Meets also joining in on the battle there, still in the background. All of our pro drivers get through horseshoe quite consistently and clean for the time being, but David Toth has gotten a good pull off here. He's already 7/10 up on the board between the two WSR drivers, and the rest of your drivers behind will continuously try and jump up. Aiden Young now 3 wide, and unfortunately for Meets, he's made contact on the inside there, and he's stuck on the outside of that corner. He's completely lost out on any drive, and Meets was 4th in the championship. That has completely thrown him into the gutter works.
It has indeed, and just went 3 wide, and that's another one back around. That's Ivanov, who is around at the moment, gets it facing the right way, gets back onto the circuit nice and safely, but the pros have been a little bit more chaotic at the start than what we saw from the AMs, but Toth and Joff have already got the jump at the start of this race. Pascucci on the back of Young with Nicholas Laubish trying to pounce on the rear of the pink and black Ford Mustang then as they coming towards Oak Tree for the first time. It's been a bit of a chaotic start here in this race, and down towards Madison Avenue there you go once again. That's Maya Dienarine side by side with Eric Holzband, who goes a little bit wide on exit, and that could allow the likes of Ty Dunnett and Zoe Ahmed to get the run down the start down the Madison Avenue straight and make a couple of moves. Russell Soto's got ahead of Gail Valero then further forward as well, as here comes Johan Neshev having a look up the inside of that of, sorry, that's Hodge having a look on Neshev, in towards Roller Coaster, but we stay as we was. What a chaotic start already in this race.
Yeah, chaotic start indeed for the pros. A little bit more crazier compared to what we saw in the AM class racing. They managed to keep it clean throughout lap number 1. Unfortunately for our pros, getting a little bit argy-bargy in the background there. They've all fortunately managed to recover themselves now. A couple, though, that have fallen off the pacing of this race. Unfortunately for Rodrigo Meets 2.5 seconds of the entire grid. So he's going to fight his way up for quite a bit of a long time here to potentially get closer up towards where he originally stood, and that's 2 out. It's Dunnett and Ivanov, and they've just gone off together into horseshoe. Both of them still just sitting on the left-hand side of the circuit. I think both quite irritated, and Ivanov is actually going to call it to the pit lane. Unfortunate to see there. It's just one minor incident into lap 2, and he still had his entire race ahead of him there, but he's decided to call it in and call it quits. His second spin, though, in this event, so that's pulled him all the way down to 19th position on the grid slots here. The rest of the cars in the mid-pack here, busy fighting it out with each other. This is Kevin Rold on the backside of Tyler Carr, and Elon Johnson is just behind him there, fighting it out with Dennis Grabowski, who's also trying to move up on the boards here. Roman Pascucci up at the top, trying to chase down on Young. He's got Laubish behind from the fiercely forward Lions, seeing what he can do in the background there. Unfortunately, the other line has dropped off of Rodrigo Meets, so it's all up to Laubish to carry it out there for his team. Neshev scraping up some dust in the background there. He's got to watch out for it. Joff is not catching David Toth, though. It's 1.3 seconds of a distance now, and it is just gradually growing as it currently stands.
Indeed, we can take a look at a few replays that happened in the earlier stages of this race. This is Rodrigo Meets' incident here. So he's trying to go and attack Marley Joff. Looks up the inside, 3 wide, and just nowhere to really get. We'll just try and get another clip of this one because the tree was in the way. But if you just look here, look, so he gets up the inside of both WSR drivers, and it's almost as if the WSR on the outside almost pinches his teammate in the middle between the two, and that just sends Rodrigo Meets around the outside. Maya Dienarine did well to avoid that one, but Rodrigo Meets not really anywhere to go there, Tristan.
Yeah, unfortunately, not much that he could do there. I mean, going 3 wide into quite a narrow circuit, like we've already mentioned, VIR is not the place to barely even go 2 wide, and now you try and go 3 wide through one of these corners. It's not, most of the time, it's not going to end out in your favor. So, unfortunately, not much that Rodrigo Meets could have done in that situation. And Marley Joff kind of just getting pinned in between there. Aiden Young, like you mentioned, kind of just had a bit of a pinball effect, knocking him on the outside, which ended up knocking Meets off of the circuit. And that is unfortunately classified a racing incident. It is just one of those things going 3-way into a corner. Back to the racing action that we've got here, 4 minutes into the race. and our pro drivers have been putting immense pressure on each other. Yeah, Russell Soto with Kevin Rold. These two are bouncing all over the circuit at the time being. That's Gal Valera up in front of him. Apologies. Kevin Rold is just a bit further behind Russell Soto as it stands. The two Golden Falcons in the mid-pack here trying to fight it out. They've got Johnson in the background. They're seeing if he can potentially jump up on the spots here. More of the Tribute Racing team drivers there from Race Forge in the pro division, seeing if they can grab a couple more positions on the board here. Gal Valero holding 9th position, and Molly Joff is out of this race. What on earth has happened to Molly Joff? He's dropping off the timings tower, and I think this is a disconnect again, because that does not look like a blip out. He's not coming back from it, so something's happened to Molly Joff here, and that has completely thrown away his chances of possibly winning this race here. He needed it to lead it off. It looked like he had a bit of an off track, but I'm not too sure if that is going to be the reason as to why he lost out here. This is coming through the S's up towards South Bend and breaking up left. I think he went just slightly off there on the right, and nothing really happens there. Up into Oak Tree he goes, and onto the back straight. Does he just merely disconnect as he continues going on the back straight here, or possibly just see him completely disconnect? But yeah, that is so unfortunate for Molly Joff, and he's completely dropped down to 18th position.
What a crazy night at Virginia International Raceway then. The two championship leaders have both had disconnections from the race. Very, very strange. Molly Joff then will be hoping to try and get back in and score some points as this race does continue to go on a little later on in the night, throughout the day. He's obviously going to want to just try and get back in and score as many points as he possibly can, as here goes Grabowski slowing down due to that yellow flag next to his name. That'll allow Maya Dienarine to pick up yet another position. So we're down to 17 runners out on the circuit at this moment in time. It'd be good to see... Yeah, just noticing that. Yeah, he's kept the same livery on the car. It'd be interesting to see how many drivers get promoted from that AM series into the pros, because I could at least think of 3 or 4, maybe even 5 drivers that could get promoted into the pro series for next season. That'd be an interesting one to see what happens going into season number 4. As down Madison Avenue they come once again. Nicholas Laubish is just losing out a little bit to the 2 ahead, but here goes Justin Hodge, a lot braver on the brakes than that of Neshev, and makes the move there. The teal and pink car manages to make a move through, and Justin Hodge up into P5.
Yeah, great move there from Justin Hodge. Nice and late on the brakes for the two-tone Ford Mustang, and was able to catch himself into the roller coaster section, moving up into 5th position now. The rest of the drivers continue pushing on for the rest of the race. Arctic Fox, that's Ramsey Jimenez jumping in to say thank you for the support and thank you for the commentary. Absolute pleasure, like always. We've got one more round, so you best feature once more coming into round number 8. But back to the pro racing that we've got at the moment. This is Elon Johnson. He's got pressure behind from Mayadeen Areen, and like we mentioned, rocking the same livery from last week. Not normally a thing that you get to see with Mayadeen Areen. He's usually got one ready to go for each and every round of the league by Foxxtecca, but for this time being, maybe it kind of fitted the styling of Virginia International. But to be fair, I'm not really seeing much pink around, which is a bit odd. In any case, Dienarine is going to continue putting pressure on behind from Johnson, and Kevin Rold will also hold on to see how he can hold off on the top 10 here. So Dienarine seeing if he can potentially get ahead of the top 2. And yeah, we really are spoiled for choice here with liveries, and when we don't get a new livery, we tend to get upset. That seems to be the case for the time being, but nonetheless, Dienarine still rocking a beautiful livery out on that car. Gal Valero is currently holding down an 8th position, also been a strong contender in this season so far, seeing if he can bring it around for one last time in this race. Obviously, one more round left to go next week, and you can see him just doing a couple of stretches down there, making sure that he's ready to go to potentially attack on Tyler Carr as he slowly starts to approach on the back straight here on Tyler Carr. Johan Neshev is also a bit further up ahead with Justin Hodge. So Gal Valero now needs to lock in and potentially get up towards the top 5 where he's actually belonging.
Yep, indeed he does, as he's trying to close down, like you said, to Tyler Carr at the moment. Neshev and Hodge just a little further forward up the road. Good battles happening out there at the moment. 8 minutes, nearly 10 minutes on the clock already in this race. We've got a battle of Young, Pescucci and Laubish in this one happening for that second place. And Pescucci here would love to get past Young, although does it really matter to Pescucci due to the fact that with Toff obviously having that disconnection, he's going to score big points. Now, I'm just going to take a look at the standings. Joff having the disconnection, Pescucci obviously missed the first round, so his drop round will be 0. David Toff's will be 64. Morley Joff's then is currently sat at 87. So he'll gain 87 points back today, but he'll obviously lose whatever the front that of Pascucci and Toft score here. So could be an interesting gap between them three going into next week's race. But this is Elon Johnson, 11th place. Got Meyer Dienerine, Grabowski, and then Holzbahn. That one sole Ferrari on the grid, compared to the grid full of Ford Mustangs here. So Grabowski doing what he needs to do in terms of trying to just work his way through the field a little bit. Elon Johnson, though, managing to just keep a couple of car lengths ahead of Meyer Dienerine as they come in towards Oak Tree for the 6th time of asking. And it all just tightens up there, doesn't it, as they all sort of come to a nice slowing down through the corner, Grabowski then into the back of Dienerine momentarily. He's got Holzband, who's got a good run down Madison Avenue here. The Superthays team on the back of the Ferrari. You can see there the green and gold car just pulling out to have a look in towards roller coaster. Not close enough. Dienerine nice and slow. Grabowski gives him plenty of space, and all just queuing up a little bit here though, Tristan, at this moment in time. And this is where Virginia's very difficult to overtake. You've always got to force your opponent into a mistake.
Yeah, and that's what we've been seeing across the AM and the pros, is that you've got to try and just put the nose up on the inside into specific corners. Yeah, I know it seems desperate for most of the drivers, but it does unfortunately happen. It's one thing that you have to kind of do at Virginia International in order to get past. It's a very technical circuit with not much play ready to go in terms of where you can make overtakes happen. So for those few corners where overtaking is a possibility, you really have to try and work for it to see if you can get up ahead of the drivers around you. A couple of people in our virtual grandstand are saying that there's still no audio. We do apologize about that, as we did try and work through it through the AM race. Still a bit of an issue that we had for tonight. So none of you are going crazy. There is unfortunately no game audio. It is just one of those things for this round, and we'll ensure that it is good to go for round number 8 of St. Petersburg. For the time being, you've got us on the mic at least. It's better than having game audio and no comms. As we continue on this round, 11 minutes in to go. Tyler Carr currently 4 tenths behind Valero.
Ty Dunnett's into the pits.
Yeah, I see that.
Potentially after this race, we'll wait and see. We have been having audio issues in game for majority of the night, so we'll hopefully get that. We've been trying to sort this one since the AM race, so apologies for the AM audio. It is showing that it is working, so please let us know in the chat. And Dennis Grabowski is now also out of the race. We're down to 15 runners in the first 12 minutes of this race. What is happening here? Oh no, Grabowski's back, so he's just blipped momentarily, but Ty done it into the pit lane. So please let us know if there is game audio now. But yeah, we've been having these technical issues all night long, so we do apologise for that.
Yeah, and someone else saying not much to hear in a grid full of Mustangs. That is true. Very dominant coming in here for the pro class. At least in the AMs, we got to see a couple more variation with the Mercedes and a couple of Ferraris that were blessing us up in the top 10. For this time, though, all the way in the top 15 is going to be your Ford Mustangs. And now it does look like Grabowski is actually out. He did blip there, but now he's completely out of the race, it seems. And so we are down to 15 runners into this lap, 8th lap so far. And trying to see how this is going to work out between all of these drivers. Tyler Carr still busy chasing on Gal Valero here. This is for 7th. And then Russell Soto just a bit further behind. Currently 30 minutes into this race. David Toth is 3 seconds ahead of Aiden Young in 2nd spot. So unfortunately, Aiden Young just not able to catch for the WSR team. Of Pascucci and Laubish are just on the backside here, trying to see what he can do. To potentially try and challenge Young in 2nd spot. So there's a good contention there for 2nd on the leaderboard. Justin Hodge a bit further behind, 2.7 seconds to Laubish, and then Neshev on the backside of Hodge in this race. Valero feeling the pressure still from Tyler Carr. He got ahead of him, but now he needs to try and get away from him in that Tribu Race 4G Sports team. Tyler Carr seeing what he can do. This is back up towards Pascucci now for the SDR Sim Racing team, and that gap is slowly but surely starting to close in on Aiden Young here to potentially make an attack in the next couple of laps.
In the Grabowski is now out of this race, so he's obviously had an issue there, as well as Ramsey Jimenez, Arctic Fox. He's trying to butter us up here, Tristan. He's saying more clarity from your majestic voices. I think he's trying to butter us up a little bit. Matt Watkins, odd, so many disconnections. Bor Ivanov, yeah, there has been. Ivanov retired from this race. Ty Dunnett was in the pits, so not sure what happened, but Grabowski, Johnson didn't start this race. So, yeah, we're having a few disconnection issues here tonight. It's possibly some issues on the servers at the moment, but which is a shame because we're down to 15 cars. Yeah, there's still battles happening out there on the circuit. It's been a shame that 15 minutes in, we have already lost 5 drivers out there. So we get this fighting towards the end of the race. And Pascucci is the man trying to put that of Young under some pressure. Would love to try and just take even more points. Young's job now, is with him coming in at Sebring, is to just limit the points that Pascucci and Toth score here over Marley Joff, isn't it? With Joff not being in this race. But Toth, like you said, is 3.2 seconds up the road, so he's not really making inroads on stopping Toth scoring points. But he can try and help Marley Joff by Pascucci not scoring as many. Nicholas Lavic is there or thereabouts, but not close enough to go for a move. And you have to admit, Pascucci this season, Tristan, has just been a breath of fresh air. He's coming to the championship. We was looking at it being a Joff versus Toth battle in the first couple of weeks. And Pascucci has just been a revelation to this championship in terms of being able to take the fight to both of them.
Yeah, no, he really has been a nice addition to the top spots there, and throwing a bit of a contention up into the top spots. And it is good to see him up there at the top, especially with Marley Joff not being out. At least it means that Toth is not completely uncontested, as Pascucci is still on a bit of a run here. Unfortunately, Young only joining in at Sebring last round for round number 6, so he missed round 1 all the way up to round number 5, which is why he's so far down on the leaderboard and not exactly in any kind of fighting competition. I assume he was actually just here to join them in the final couple of rounds to potentially try and assist Marley Joff during the race here or there, to push him up and ensure he gets the win. Unfortunately, that's gone out the window now with Marley Joff getting the disconnect, and now Aiden Young is just here to try and race it out and get some points on the board for himself, potentially try and keep Pascucci at bay to keep the distance away from Pascucci to Marley Joff on those championship standings. It's all about strategy and the long run here in the league by Foxxtecca. You've got to try and use your strategy as much as you can to push yourself further up on that board. So Young leading still from Pascucci and Laubish, not giving them much leeway here to get up ahead. But unfortunately, the more he defends, the more it's allowing David Toth up at the top to run away with this race. 3.6 seconds now, and in closing to see what he can do. Nicholas Laubish down 4th position is also currently holding off strong, and then Justin Hodge in 5th position, seeing if he can potentially try and close on Laubish, but unfortunately 2.8 seconds is quite a bit of a distance there. Neshev has also started to drop off from Hodge slightly, so Hodge has got a bit of breathing room there. The American driver in 5th place, but also not catching up to Laubish at the time being. Laubish is looking very strongly on the backside of Pascucci though, so we could see a bit of a switch up coming there for 3rd spot, which will throw some more works into that battle between Aiden Young. Ahmad gets ahead of Rodrigo Meets. He looks like he's trying to fight it out. Rodrigo Meets has made an error out on track though. He's off track completely at the moment. He's down 5 seconds now, and there you can see him. It's at the exit of Old Tree, and he's lost the car once again. Unfortunately for Rodrigo Meets, just not looking like it's his race today, and all the way at the backside, 15th in this race. Unfortunately, only 15 cars out on track, and so while he did recover 1 spot, he's lost out on it again, coming towards lap number 10 here. 17 minutes into this race, not too much to have a look to look into for this race, as the distances are starting to split up. Here's the quick replay we've got of Rodrigo Meets, and seeing what he can seeing what happened here coming up into Oak Tree. Never mind, it's actually way worse than that, jumping out of South Bend and then trying to recover the car, and then I think he lost it again on the exit of Oak Tree. Yes, he did. And just losing the rear into Oak Tree he goes, and that's why we saw Rodrigo Meets dropping so significantly off the rest of the drivers on the live timings board.
We have sound now. I can see in the chat from Arctic Fox. That's good to see. Nicholas Laubish has got really close to the back of Pascucci now, so he started to make inroads on Pascucci and that of Young. This is for 2nd, 3rd and 4th at the moment. But this has been the pro season all season at the minute, hasn't it, Tristan, where they've just been sort of single file, follow the leader almost, just trying to suss each other out as to where to get an overtake done or an opportunity to have a look to make a move. And this is not the fighting that's going to bring Justin Hodge into this race for that podium spot. So we'll keep an eye on the gap of Hodge to Laubish, but Pascucci has almost got to keep one eye on his rear view mirror and one eye in front of him, because Nicholas Laubish is starting to just get a little bit closer to the back of that pink and black Ford Mustang. Down the Madison Avenue back straight they go, in towards Roller Coaster. Tothler's got this gap out front to 3.7 seconds, and he seems to now just be willing to maintain that gap. It's a good, comfortable gap that he's got, under no pressure from Young at the moment. Holzband's on the rear of Dienarine further down the order by 1/10 of a second. That'll be coming down Madison Avenue as well, so I wonder if Dienarine's going to come under pressure from Holzband there. As over the timing line goes Nicholas Laubish, just trying to get a bit closer. There is Holzband on the rear of Dienerine, down through the roller coaster, just trying to pick his spot. Holds a bit of a tighter line through there than Mayor Dienerine, and actually looked like he got a little bit closer, a bit more of a slingshot out of the corner, holding that tighter line through the bend. He definitely is closer, coming down in towards turn number 1, using that slipstream of Mayor Dienerine, who pulls to the middle of the circuit, breaks into turn 1, gets it parked on the apex, an absolute peach. And Dienerine stays ahead of Eric Holzband. Nice patient driving from the pair of them. At the moment, this is for 13th and 12th position here. So good driving from both of these two. As it's Toth who now gets that gap up to 3.9 seconds. That is Carl with a bit of a slowdown, which is a shame because Carl was gaining on the back ago, Valero. Valero just doesn't seem to have the pace he had at Sebring a week ago. And now for Roman Pascucci, all over the back of Young. Still in this race, in towards Oak Tree they come. Needs a good slingshot through here in that slipstream of Young in front. And don't forget, Tristan, for our virtual grandstand, who might be new to this, it's all fixed setups, default setup, so it's all fixed. So these Mustang drivers are all running exactly the same setup. No different tweaks can be made, but maybe a bit of brake bias on the fly. So this is all down to driver ability here to try and get the race win or the podium spots.
Yeah, all down to driver ability and seeing what they can do to keep their cars in momentum with those fixed setups. Unfortunately, the Mustang, as according to the latest fixed balance of performance, seems to be the most dominant car, which is why we see the grid completely surrounded by Mustang drivers. We have seen a couple of requests from a couple of the drivers saying that we do indeed need open setups, and a couple of drivers have really been trying to fight for it. So we'll see what the result is in season number 4. The fixed setups do just tend to keep the racing a little bit closer, but unfortunately with this season's BOP, it just doesn't really work out with everybody choosing the same car. It's almost like we've gone back to season 1 of the league by Foxxtecca, where the McLaren 720S was the fixed car for the entire grid. So that kind of throws the whole point away of having the multi-branded grid, as most drivers will just go for the best option, that being the Ford Mustang out in the top. Or at least making the Pro Series somewhat of an open setup, even just keeping the AMSs fixed, because they seem to just kind of go with whatever car they prefer, and it still works out to be quite a nice race between those drivers. The Pro drivers are more the drivers who are highly requesting the open setups, because in Pro level driving, especially in the higher rating lobbies, you will most of the time be using open setups compared to fixed setups. So maybe something to look into season number 4. We'll have a look into that. 22 minutes into this race though, lap number 13 done and dusted. Most of your drivers have started distancing themselves on the board. For the time being, Halsband is defending from Dienerine and Ahmad up at the top. It is still that battle for second spot, but again, what we notice with the Pro Series driving is that nothing happens up until those final moments, especially with your top drivers in the top 4. They don't tend to attack each other until it is the final dire moments where they can make those attacks happen. So that's why we're seeing Pascucci and Laubish not really making those chances happen. Here in the background, though, it looks like Halsband is officially trying to solidify it here with Dienerine, but Dienerine wants to get this position done and dusted up on the outside line now. He's going to be forced coming through Hogspin. Oh, he gets struck out wide, and that is going to ruin his run completely, and Ahmad is going to get back ahead of Dienerine here. So a couple of switches going in for 12th place there. Eric Halsband is going to keep 12th. But for the time being, that is how the grid is looking. Not too much going on around the circuit. And David Toth just extending that lead almost up to 5 seconds now at the top part of the circuit.
I done it in the chat. Car was kaput, so I grabbed a beer instead, he said in the chat there, as this is on board with Aidan Young. And I like that from you, Tristan. They're keeping the B class as that mixed, as that fixed setup, and making the Pro class the open setups. I do quite like that suggestion there. Might be one to put forward to Chris and Sam and see what they say. And going in towards season 4, because I do quite like that, as Pascucci here getting really close to the back of Aidan Young. Can't make the move though, coming through the S's in towards the South Bend. There you go now. Oak Tree is the next corner that approaches him. Laubish just catches them both back up under braking at the moment. I did see a few funny comments in the Foxxtecca Discord the other day about from some of the drivers. I can't remember who it was, but had asked about a track selection. Did it, could the drivers get to vote on a circuit that maybe the AMs could run different to the pros? And Sam Fitzpatrick kindly responded back saying no, because you'll all pick Spa. And I had to giggle at that one. I really did. I chucked a comment in there. I said Thruxton for next year. I think that would be an interesting race to see. If we go into Virginia, let's go to Thruxton. Yeah, Jim likes that. Go to Thruxton, the quickest circuit in the UK. That'd be an interesting race indeed. As Pascucci here, still on the back of Aidan Young, coming down towards turn number 1. As is he going to look to make a move? No, sitting happily and patiently just behind. GT racing actually not allowed at Thruxton in the real world due to the lack of safety at the circuit. So that would be interesting to see GT racing for the first time at Thruxton. Pascucci's just playing that patient game at the moment, Tristan. I think you might be right. I think he's waiting for that later stages of the race. No. Thruxton is a lot wider than actually it looks, to be fair, Jim. I've walked around the circuit. Really wide. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, Knockhill would just be suicidal. That would be crazy to go racing GT cars around Knockhill. Damn, no. Thruxton. No, Thruxton's brilliant. Now I really want Knockhill actually on the calendar.
Man, I've been wanting Kyalami since I don't know how long, but yeah, that in the game, that's not in the game yet. So I've got to wait. You know, try and see. Yeah, what's that iRacing Arcade?
iRacing Arcade, I think that's what it's called, isn't it? iRacing Arcade.
Isn't it iRacing Arcade? Yeah, I know they've got Kyalami there, but I doubt a game like that would be lazy.
I'm still flabbergasted that iRacing don't have Kyalami. Like, well and truly flabbergasted by it. I think Kyalami is one of my all-time favourites. I'd rank it in my top 10 circuits of all time. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a fantastic
it's a great circuit for. I mean, the GT World Challenge races there. There's a bunch of local South African endurance series of the GT3s. It's, all in all, I mean, from personal experience racing there and walking around the track, it is, I mean, also a very classic F1 races there in the 90s that raced at Kyalami. It is a great circuit for any kind of tin-top racing that you could throw at it. They race so much multi-class there. And it's got a wide enough berth. It's got good corner runoffs and a lot of technicality to it for GT3 racing that really do prove to be quite challenging. If you've ever raced an ACC yet, Assetto Corsa Competizione, they do indeed have Kyalami, which you can play the GT3s on that circuit, and it is quite a fun track to chuck around the GT3s there. So maybe we'll eventually get it in iRacing. That would be lovely to see, and then we could get it on the calendar for some more diverse locations in African race on the board, which would be lovely.
I tell you what, as well, while there's a bit of a lull in the race at the moment, I messaged Tristan, I think it was midweek last week. We've celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the League by Foxxtecca. Sent Tristan a message. It popped up on my Facebook memories that season 1 was a year ago. I think it was last Wednesday or Thursday, if I remember rightly. So the League by Foxxtecca, 1 year old, and here we are in season 3, already looking at season 4 and track selections and what might be coming in the future of the League by Foxxtecca. So great things to come in this league. Yeah, possibly as well. Chris Harris was saying the other week about some esports world events where he's doing qualifiers for Team USA, I believe it was, which us three might be covering. He wants us possibly in real life events where me and Tristan will get to fly out to the States, meet up with Jim, watch a bit of stand-up from Jim for that week, and then go and commentate on some real-life events there as well. So a lot to come from the League by Foxxtecca, hopefully, in the near future, which will be a pleasure to put a face to the name with these two. It's been a privilege working with them for over a year now. As here is Johan Neshev, still sat patiently behind Hodge, and we're almost kind of just seeing this race being it's a game of chess. Who blinks first at the moment, Tristan?
Yep, that is pretty much it. It's wanting to see who is going to be taking those last-minute dives to get those positions done. I'm still waiting for Pascucci to find a spot around Young and potentially see a gap that he can take advantage of here. So we'll see if Pascucci can do that. Labish has dropped off slightly to just about 5/10 here. Neshev and Hodge is the same. And then this is the Dinarine on Ahmad. And Dinarine wants to try and get back up to 11th. He was in 11th and then had that slight push out there from Eric Johnson. And so he's dropped all the way down to 13th spot on the board, seeing what he can do. And let's hope that he can climb back up towards 11th spot here in this race. Roman Pascucci still on the backside here of Aidan Young. And like I said just now, I'm hoping to see he would possibly make a dive coming into these next couple of laps, just to provide a bit of entertainment so that Young can try and fight it out with him, potentially bringing Laubish closer to these two. So let's see how this is going to work out. I thought Pascucci would have the run onto the back straight here from Oak Tree, but looks like he had a slightly poorer exit, and that gap is just too big for him to try and make a dive into the roller coaster section down to Hogspen. So he's going to stay behind Young for the time being, and Laubish also behind for about 4/10 of a distance. David Toth is now closing in on 6 seconds of a gap as we get up towards the pit windows. So David Toth is just continuously extending this lead over and over again, and it is really looking good from here for a total 100 points gainage in this race. Nobody's able to contest him. In fact, David Toth is actually closing in on potentially lapping 15th of Rodrigo Meets, down 45 seconds at the moment, and that could be quite bad for him if David Toth does get up. This is now Roman Pascucci. He does officially get ahead of Aiden Young into the horseshoe. Finally, a bit of action, and Roman Pascucci saw the gap. He took the advantage and jumped up into second. We'll move closer towards David Toth now. Aiden Young, though, is going to fight back, and oh, that is a terrible time to blip as he goes side by side with Young. And I think, that is okay. That's I don't think GT3s are supposed to do that to each other. They've both gotten yellow flags because that is all netcode and blinking, and they've gone right inside of each other for the time being. And looks like Young gotten back out on top. Pascucci and Laubish remain in the same spots, but Pascucci was ahead there in second. Unfortunately, with that blipping at the incorrect time, I thought Pascucci was in the wall there. I thought that he got knocked off, but fortunately just was able to stay on circuit.
Yeah, he was. It looked like he was about to make contact, didn't it? And then Pascucci just has a couple of moments of blipping. Then Laubish, wow! Laubish just basically entered inside the cockpit of the car there, tried to drive Pascucci's Ford Mustang for a moment in time, but thankfully nothing tragic came out of that one, because that would have been horrible to have a blipping incident where you know, Young and Laubish could have been off with Pascucci. But I'm wondering if iRacing are just suffering with a little bit of server issues here, because there's been a lot of guys out with blipping, you know, the likes of Davis. We've had Joff and Grabowski. We've had sound issues today, camera issues today, and we've had the blipping issues as well. So, yeah, hopefully they get put to bed. And now Pascucci has got to get on the back of Young. As here comes Laubish. Pascucci side by side with Laubish at the moment in time, and Laubish tries to get the up and under on Pascucci. And then through he comes. Nicholas Laubish now looking to the outside line. Pascucci's trying to go back up the inside. They just rub a little bit, pushes Laubish out wide, and this is bringing that of Hodge. Into this.
I can't even give context to the situation. For all of you in the virtual grandstand, unfortunately, you just have to hear the laughs and just move on. To give you slight bit of context, Matthew's no longer at his chair. He's currently walked away. I don't think he can take this at the moment. It's the standard comedian of Jim in the background, which nobody can hear, is proving to make the commentary quite difficult. Funny scenes coming into these 32 minutes. Always a way to find entertainment out on the circuit, even if there's not anybody challenging the drivers out on the board. So great stuff to see there. And looks like Matthew's recovered now. Yeah, he's... oh, no. Yeah, that is just unfortunately timed events. Unfortunately timed events there coming for Matthew. And we'll give him a second to clock in and realize, and then he can jump back on the mic. But for the time being, Laubish is chasing up to Pascucci, and then Justin Hodge has actually caught up to this battle now between all of these drivers who have completely dropped off and changed the standings here. Now Young has got a 2.3 second lead. Hodge is going to be your first into the pit lane, though, in terms of pit strategy. So jumping in quite early here. It was right on the backside of Laubish, but now decides to jump in. Neshev will now be closing out to Laubish here. Laubish still on Pascucci, but 2.3 seconds from Pascucci to Young. Unfortunately, the battle for second has become redundant here. 6 of our drivers in this 15-car grid, into the pit box they go. And so this is your primary pit window here. We'll probably be seeing Toth, Young, and Pascucci jump into the pit lane at the next lap. So let's give it a second. Maiden Reen has also made a critical error somewhere. He's completely off the rest of the pack here. And, he's pitted. That makes sense. Yeah. So Den Reen went a bit earlier. And that is how it's looking so far, 34 minutes in.
So the interesting thing now for Young is, can Young now, without the pressure from behind, start to close that gap down to David Toth? Or is Pascucci going to try and close that gap back up? So I'm just looking at the lap times here. Pascucci hasn't been lapping any quicker than Aidan Young, but obviously he's been sat behind him. So this is now the chance where we're going to see the difference in the pace between the two of them, whether that of Aidan Young, as Soto is saying, is... Oh, no, he's in the pits, not out. Sorry, I've read that wrong. This is now where we're going to see what Pascucci's pace possibly is, whether he can get onto the rear of Young once again, or if this is Young's chance to really try and close that gap to the Hungarian driver. Not seen David Toth look this dominant for quite a while. We're talking season 1, season 2, where he was dominant in previous seasons. But yeah, great stuff. David Toth into the pit lane. Laubish still on the rear of Pascucci. Here is Aidan Young. There's a little lap time sector back to Laubish over the sector times of this lap. And there it is, Young to Neshev as well. So in the pits, and that's why Roman Pascucci actually goes the extra lap now. So has he been able to do a little bit of fuel saving behind that of Young? So maybe the strategy here for Pascucci could see him jump ahead of Young. It'll be a heck of a jump, bearing in mind that he lost a couple of seconds when he was blipping.
Yeah, let's see what Pascucci can do now with that clean air at the top spots of this race. And on the live timings tower, David Toth is going to come out of the pit exit now, 28 seconds behind. And so Pascucci is going to lose out to him in those pit stop rotations. This is down again with Dean. He's officially getting ahead of Eric Carlsbad now after the pit stops. It looks like Dean early pit stop has worked out for him. He's undercut 2 drivers here and moves up into 13th. Great job there to continue pushing on strong into 12th position here. Unfortunately, Eric Carlsbad will need to try and work hard if he wants to get back up to Dean. I always get confused with these Super Lab guys. They look like Springbok players into those in the bottom left hand side. I mean, I'm not judging. It's a beautiful color scheme. The green and the yellow. I wish the cars were green and yellow. They're actually black and yellow, but the shirts look to be green and yellow. I wish they actually matched each other. Would have been quite nice. But coming up towards the leg end of the race now, we are past the halfway mark here at the VIR, Virginia International Raceway. Yeah, for round number 7 of 8 in the lead by Foxxtecca, season number 3. Eric Carlsbad still busy pushing on to Dean in 13th spot, seeing what he can do. And someone in the virtual grandstand saying, woo Eric, as he continues to try and push onto Dean here. Rodrigo Meets is also closing in. Roman Pascucci is officially into the pit lane now. So David Toth and Aidan Young will be playing recovery here. It looks like, 8 seconds still to David Toth. Apologies, almost was thinking something else there. So still a good distance for David Toth to Aidan Young. Pascucci, will this extra lap, the overcut, have been the advantage? Is he going to be closer to Young from that 2.2 seconds we saw before the pit stops, or is he unfortunately going to have made an area? That is going to be the critical decision in this race. But David Toth is definitely going to reclaim the lead here. Where does Aidan Young come around, though, in relation to Pascucci in the pit lane?
I think Pascucci's going to have to jump on Aidan Young here, because he's on the pit exit now. Wait for that pit exit marker to go, and it has. And Pascucci then has jumped Aidan Young by an absolute margin here. Was a couple of seconds off the back of him. There is Pascucci, there is Aidan. So Aidan Young will not believe what he is seeing. And Roman Pascucci's got about 1.9, 1.8 seconds ahead of Aidan Young after the pit stop. So a great job there from Pascucci in the pits. And that just goes to show you, sat behind Young in this race, obviously wasn't looking to overtake, was just looking to save that extra lap of fuel with fueling less. Because obviously he's got that 1 lap less to fuel. He's just absolutely nailed his stop. Gets a bit of a slowdown now, though, so won't want too many of them, because that will invite Young back onto the rear.
Well, it looks like it has already, because it's 7/10 to Pascucci now, and he's still got to serve this yellow flag. So he's going to have to slow the car down even more gradually. Yeah? So this is allowing for Young to chase back on here. You can see that Young is starting to get closer and closer. It's already down to 3/10 between the two of them now. That penalty is still not served, apparently, for Pascucci, so he needs to slow down even further. And this is going to give Young the perfect opportunity. I'm going to go side by side, and Young is going to have the run now down Oak Tree, the back straight up towards Roller Coaster. Young going to be on the outside line here. It's going to convert to the inside, coming down to Roller Coaster, but he needs to get the run off here against Roman Pascucci. It's going to be whoever is last on the brakes between the two of them. them. And it looks like Aiden Young is rather going to play the safe game here. Pascucci is going to go later on the brakes. Instead of causing a huge collision, they rather played safer. And Liang is going to pull back into the wake of Pascucci there. 8.5 seconds. The more that these two fight, the more that David Toth is just getting clean air all the way at the top there, away from Pascucci and Young, and running away with this race. Laubish behind as well in 4th position is trying to keep up with these two to try and get his way into the top 2 battle. Again, they're going to go side by side. Yes, 600ths of a second split between the two of them, and Young getting forced all the way out to the outside line here. Not much that he can do with the space he's been given, and he's just going to have to work with whatever is in place out on the track. He's going to go side by side again here, but now on the outside line, so not much opportunity to attack on the outside there. Again, diving on to be right behind Pascucci, coming up now into the mid sector of the circuit, the technical point of it, where not much overtaking can be done. Now it's all up to Young to stay right on the rear of Pascucci, running up to Oak Tree.
Yep, indeed it will, and let's see what will happen as they come up towards Oak Tree once again. But this is bringing Laubish back into contention for sure here in this race, and it is Pascucci who's now fending off that of Young at the moment. And this should be an interesting race to see how this one plays out towards the very end, because Young's going to want to try and help his teammate of Molly Joff out by taking points away from Pascucci, but Laubish, with not really anything to play for in this championship anymore, just maybe the odd solitary place here and there, is going to want to try and just take glory for himself, isn't he? Maybe not the overall race win, because David Toff is well up the road, but Laubish would love a podium. Remember, there is a bit of prize money for the podium finishers in the race, so a bit of prize money towards their pocket going into future series. That is a really tight section of the circuit, in which you can just see there that Pascucci has so much more confidence through roller coaster and down through the final couple of corners there of Hogpen to just be able to extend that gap. But it's really the first and middle sector where Young gets onto the rear of Pascucci here. Young, though, now has got to start watching behind him, because Laubish is really in contention at the moment.
Yeah, Laubish has officially joined in on this battle between the top 3 here, and seeing if he can throw his weight in to see if he can put pressure on Young and Pascucci. It's now a 3-way for second between 2, 3, and 4 of Pascucci, Young, and Laubish. The more that these 3 fight, unfortunately, Toth is just completely running away with this race by an absolute storm. Regardless, I don't think that he was catchable, even if they weren't fighting. It's a 9-second gap now, and this is a little bit of a fight going around in the background. Yeah, this is Meats trying to recover from the drop down he had earlier on in this race around the outside of Zohair Ahmad, not able to get it, and he's actually going to flash Ahmad for that one. Not happy with how that overtake has happened, and so he's going to have to retry it on the backside of Ahmad now. Mayadeen Nareen's also in a bit of a no man's land for the time being. 1 second behind, 5 seconds in front, just trying to maintain himself for the remainder of this race. Still 5 cars out. Johnson not starting this race. Grabowski done it. Joff and Ivanov unfortunately not being able to finish this race due to a couple of issues that happened out on circuit and a couple of connection issues. As we make our way through 42 minutes into this race, about 17 or so, 18 minutes left to go in this final round, well, this final the final heat. Well, it's only one heat in the format A's. It's the final race of tonight for the round number 7 and round number 8 here for season number 3. Going on strong here with Zohair Ahmad in 12th position. Those top 3 also still busy fighting it out, but the mid pack is unfortunately completely quiet as it stands.
It is indeed. And if you're wondering why me and Tristan get a few words jumbled up, it's very early in the morning, so you can forgive us for that one, as here comes Meats then trying to get past Zohair Ahmad, having a look. It's the Lions versus the Falcons, down to the inside into the roller coaster. This is brave from Rodrigo Meats, and a great little move there from the yellow and black Ford Mustang, getting up the inside of Zohair Ahmad. Rodrigo Meats showing why he's up in that top 5 in the championship standings, by pulling off moves like that. He's got good pace. He's just not had the rub of the green tonight, if you will. He's now going to set his sights chasing down Mayor Dianarin, who's only a couple of seconds up the road, and with 17 and a bit minutes left on the clock, 16 and a bit minutes, you'd fancy him to possibly get onto the rear of Dianarin, as here is Young once again, look closer to Pascucci than what he was to Laubish a few moments ago. So ebbing and flowing in this battle, as it was pre-pit stops, and now this is going to be where Young will look to try and capitalise on a move somewhere. Pascucci, though, just doing what we said in the AM race, driving the track absolutely to perfection, where he can just park the car and defend it exactly where he needs to, Tristan.
Yeah, I wonder if Toth and Herschel had a bit of a meeting before this with regards to track domination, because the two of them in both the classes have just been completely uncontested. Yeah, Herschel also having such a good, strong stride in that AM class, and this is David Toth in the Sesha Esports car, the only Sesha Esports member for season number 3 out on circuit, and just completely uncontested for the entirety of this race. He stayed ahead into turn number 1, ahead of Marley Joff, and then Marley Joff unfortunately receiving that disconnection issue that's pulled him out of this race. And David Toth ever since has been completely on the wild side of it, 10 seconds almost ahead of the entire rest of the grid. This is starting to look like an F1 online lobby for him, because he's completely pacing the entire grid with Pascucci, Young, and Laubish trying to recover here. But unfortunately, these three are all in a battle of their own, so the more that they battle, the easier it is for Toth to run away. And with 15 minutes left to go, it's all just a mind game now for Toth, keeping his head down and coming towards the checkered flag line to bring it home for the final race of tonight's action. Young is adamant to try and get back up into second spot here, but Pascucci is holding off as much as he possibly can. Laubish will also try his attempts just behind there, but these three are going to be at it now, coming towards the checkered flag line all the way up until the end of this race. Rodrigo Meets and Zoe Ahmad also closing in on the backside of Mayadeen Areen now, so his cushion from behind is slowly starting to drop away for Mayadeen Areen. He's got to try and lock in and keep those two behind, or else he might fall to losing 2 positions yet again after the pit stops that have happened for him. Young and Laubish both touched the gravel there on the exit, so it's slight slowdown compared to Pascucci. This is going to be a good chance though for Young on the exit. Yeah, he needs a good amount of speed to try and catch up to Pascucci. Will he have enough though is the question, and unfortunately from what we see, you need to be just under a tenth to try and make a dive up on the inside or the outside. Looks like Young 2 tenths behind is not going to have enough in him to try and make the overtake on Pascucci, and he is closing very quickly, but just not enough. As they get to the end of the roller coaster, you'll have to stay in single formation just behind and wait for a better opportunity.
Yep, indeed he will, and he's just going to have to try it once again as we're into the final 14 minutes of this race. It's been an absolutely strategical masterclass from Pascucci. You know, I have to say, to pull this second place, not the pace of David Toth today, and I don't even think Marley Joff would have had the pace of Toth, because Toth has just been fantastic in this race so far. And like I said, it is a bit like that of Herschel in the AM race earlier on in the night. As we're seeing there, Young getting very close to the rear bumper of Pascucci. Dropped away from Licorice Laubish, these two have a little bit now, so maybe a few mistakes at the back end of the last lap. We've got Valero who's gained on Nashevas. Pascucci's gone wide. That'll be the invitation that Young needs, and he's not going to need a second invitation at all there. Bites the hand off of Roman Pascucci. Through he goes up into second place. And we said in the AM race, it's whether drivers can overtake or drivers make mistakes that would gain and lose you positions here. And Roman Pascucci is just threw a position away there.
Yeah, that is unfortunate there for Roman Pascucci, and he's going to be aggravated to try and get this back, because unfortunately, just dropping off of the track has given enough room for Aiden Young to spot a gap on the inside line. Yeah, Laubish is trying to get closer to make this three-way once again. He did drop off slightly there from Pascucci, but now it's going to be the role of Pascucci in these last 12 minutes to try and catch up to Young. But the question is, how well is he going to be able to do it? Young is going to be in full defense mode here. He knows he can't catch up to Toth in the time left, so it's all going to be defense to keep Pascucci away from second position, potentially give a little bit more of a points distance for Joff in the final round to catch up to David Toth. It's going to be a difficult task here for Aiden Young to keep Pascucci at bay, but I believe it's possible, as Laubish is also going to start to put pressure from the rear of these three drivers. Laubish being a little bit calmer than what we normally see him. Normally a very fierce and aggressive driver, hence the name of the team. But this time around, just not able to get ahead of Pascucci or Young, continuously swapping around on the grid order here. And now as we head into those final 10 minutes shortly, this is going to start to become quite pinnacle for all of these drivers here. But still, Young is leading that charge for second spot. Pascucci and Laubish just not able to render any kind of result from these two. And Meets in the background there is now right on the backside of Mayadeen Reed. So that's also a battle starting to plur around for 11th spot. Elon Johnson also getting onto the backside of Kevin Roll. The mid-pack has been quite quiet, so let's hope that Elon Johnson can close that up. And then we can see a bit of an attack coming in for 9th position between those cars. Rodrigo Meets also on the backside of the Arena, like I mentioned. Battle for 11th. And that battle for second spot of Aiden Young, still holding off from Pascucci and Laubish. These two continuously putting pressure on each other. David Toth is now about to embark on that 10-second gap. We should see it at the top of the hill here as they continue to fight it out. And David Toth will then be an entire 5 digits ahead as it's just about to break into 10 seconds now. Still in the background here is Rodrigo Meets and the likes of Mayadeen Areen. Mayadeen Areen doing everything he can to keep the fiercely forward driver at bay, but finding it a little bit difficult as Meets is getting closer and closer in the action.
And it just goes to show what Meets' pace has been like in this race. He's been pretty quick, pretty consistent. But all that opening lap dramas, you know, he's having to work his way through the field and gain onto the back of the train of cars. Sadly, in that mid-pack field, though, the train of cars is pretty spread out. Bar Johnson and Rolled ahead of this fight, but he's got to go 6 seconds, rather sharpest, if he can get past Mayadeen Areen. And with us approaching the final 10.5 minutes, I wouldn't say that's going to be likely for him, because, you know, catching's one thing, especially on a circuit like this. Passing's another, and he's got to get past Mayadeen Areen at this moment in time. So we'll see what happens. As we see, David Toth is now over that 10-second mark, as Tristan was saying. So he's moved up. He's progressed along quite nicely. Rodrigo Meets down 8 places from his early lap off. Getting closer to the back of Dien Areen, though. This might be the chance for Rodrigo Meets, you know, in towards turn 1 in the slipstream now of Mayadeen Areen. Is this his opportunity to look to the inside line, trying to hold that tighter line? Dien Areen defending it for his life at the moment. Now chops to the outside. Does Rodrigo Meets, going to try and look the long way round. Gets the nose ahead, and as they emerge from behind the tree, they are still side by side. The bonus for Meets here is it's a double left-hander coming up next. Here's through the first one into NASCAR Bend. Rodrigo Meets, nice move up into P11 here as they come in towards the Snake for the 29th time of asking. Under the Michelin Bridge they'll go in just a moment. This is Kevin Rolled on the back of Tyler Carr as they're coming through the South Bend up towards Oak Tree here, and Kevin Rolled will be looking to try and get the run through Oak Tree, sticking to the back. Johnson will be trying to stick to the back of Kevin Rolled through Oak Tree and getting that run down Madison Avenue back straight to make the move going in towards the roller coaster. He's probably not as close as he'd have wanted to have been there, but we'll see. What is it, 0.3 of a second? We know you need to be roughly, like Tristan said, about 0.2 to a tenth behind to get that move done into roller coaster.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have it here. He's going to start to close in, coming towards the end of the straight, but unfortunately he's going to run out of asphalt and will have to stay behind. You saw he looked up on the inside there, Elon Johnson, but just not enough to solidate any kind of move that would not force both of the drivers off of the track. So has to rather be mindful and pull the car back in. Heading into those final 8 minutes now, just a couple of laps left to go here in this pro class race. The top two, the battle for second, is still pretty much fixated at what it currently was. Labish has got slightly closer there to Pascucci, but I don't know if he's going to make any kind of aggressive move coming into these final spots. I sure hope he does. It will be good to see the movement around, and also Labish getting ahead of Pascucci will benefit Marley Joff even more coming to that final round. It means that Pascucci will score even less points and make it slightly easier for Marley Joff to potentially contest David Toth and the rest of the drivers here for the win of this season, like he won last season. So we'll see if Marley Joff has got it in him here. Unfortunately, this race being the sellout has thrown that result away, but he can use this as a drop round. It only consolidates the first 7 rounds of racing. You cannot drop the final round of this race. So if you do score bad next week, unfortunately, that bad result is going to show up on the board. So Marley Joff can use this race as a throwaway round, and I believe he doesn't have any other 0-pointer rounds in this event, so you should be good on that front. Kevin Roll did go off track there slightly. He's lost out a bit to Tyler Carr, not like he was in any kind of battle though for the time being, but Elon Johnson has started closing in now on Kevin Roll even more due to that small little bit of an error that he's made. Aiden Young still leading off from Pascucci and Labish. 7 minutes left to go in this race. Lap 31 has officially been started there with David Toth getting across the checkered flag line, and Elon Johnson. This could potentially be contact between the two of them there. That was pushing a little bit too close to the corner exit, and there is indeed going to be contact. Somehow they keep each other still out on circuit. I thought someone was going to be pit maneuvered there, but it looks like they're all good between Elon Johnson and Kevin Rolled. And now Elon Johnson is going to get up ahead in this time being, but that was a little bit of a risky move there coming from the Race Forge driver.
Yeah, indeed it was, but Elon Johnson makes that move, and Rodrigo Meets, who was 6 seconds behind, is now only 4.5, so it could have ended up in disaster with Meets getting the pair of them. So Johnson moving up into 9th place, rolled down to 10th. Should still be okay over Rodrigo Mitso, to be fair. 4.5 seconds in 6 minutes is a big ask, big tall order to ask here, as Nicholas Laubish getting close to the back of that of Roman Piscucci once again then as they climb up the hill through the S's. There you go, in towards the South Bend now. And they approach Oak Tree. Very tight and twisty circuit, as you can see there. Car's just got himself a bit of a slowdown further back. And in towards Oak Tree, down on towards Madison Avenue. Laubish just trying to get a bit of a better slingshot out the corner to be within that touching distance, coming down in towards Roller Coaster to make a move on Piscucci. Piscucci and Toff, well, I mean, Toff will be ecstatic with the race win, but Piscucci will be happy at the fact of P3. Even if he maybe does finish P4, should be happy with that considering the points he will pick up with Molly Joff not scoring a single point here today.
Yeah, exactly. That's still the golden rule there for Roman Piscucci, is that he's still going to get the ulterior amount of points on the board for his championship standings. And Nicholas Laubish still busy pushing up behind here, potentially wanting to take away a couple more points on the leaderboard there from Roman Piscucci, especially coming in to these final dire moments around the circuit. We are closing in on the end of this race now. 5 minutes left to go. That window of desperation has opened up fully now, and we might be seeing a couple of drivers making a couple of riskier overtakes to get those positions consolidated coming to the end of it. So we'll see how this is going to work out for the drivers. Yes, indeed. Desperation is on our side as well, for myself and Matthew, desperately waiting for the bed to close in. As it's nice and early in the morning. I see Matthew already stretching his arms, giving a good yawn there. He's ready to lock in. So am I. And that's how it currently stands yet for the league by Foxxtecca. It's nice and early in the morning for myself and Matthew. 2:44 for him, 3:44 for me. So nice and early indeed. And yeah, I mean, completely different outfits. I mean, yeah, Matthew's got the slightly shorter sleeve outfit on. I am in full-on longs with a full-on gown and gloves even on. That's how you know the temperature differences around the world.
Too much of a big guy to go jogging, Jim. Come on, jogging. That's silly. That you don't get a stomach like this for jogging, do you? Let's be brutally honest. Yes, here comes Piscucci. Like you say, 4 minutes left on the clock. Yeah, jogging at 2:45. No, thank you. As down the back straight they go. Piscucci getting very, very close on you. Yeah, I won't repeat that, but yeah, I can imagine there. Lots of coffee keeping you guys awake. I've had one coffee, one glass of water, and I'm currently smashing my way through a Dr. Pepper at the moment. Other beverages are available. Yeah, I'm currently smashing my way through a fizzy pop at the moment. Yeah, still rating on, still rating on the Roasted Records. And that's a good point, actually. We've not mentioned the partners, so big thank you to our partners, Roasted Record, African Automotive Association, as Roman Piscucci goes up the inside at turn number 1. Has the door been left open for Nicholas Laubish in the final 4 minutes? It starts to happen, and Laubish does get through. So Young down 2 places, and Laubish has a look on Piscucci. Bit of a contact between the two. That gives Young the move back there, and Young comes straight back through on that one there. So yeah, big thank you to the Roasted Records, African Automotive Association, Superlap, Dakins Designs as well, out there for continuing your continued support here for the league by Foxxtecca, and as well as a big thank you to Jim and Tristan for being in the commentary box with myself tonight. Optimal, says Joe. Lots of coffee keeping you guys awake, says Arctic Fox. And well, it's all started to happen now, Tristan. 4 minutes left on the clock, or 3 minutes 20 left on the clock. Laubish very close to tapping the rear there. Evading Young round, picks himself up a slowdown penalty as well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Laubish. He's going to have to serve that now on the back straight. And you can see that he is slowly starting to lose out on time. Just gradually lifting the throttle pedal there to reduce the timing. He'll have a nice little bit of a HUD right in front of him from iRacing telling him how much he's got left to clear it. And there he's officially cleared it now, but it's dropped him all the way down a second and a half from Young. So not much contention going on there anymore. Can Young get ahead of Roman Piscucci? This has put him in the worst possible situation here for his teammate of Marley Joff. It means that Roman Piscucci is going to score even more points than he wanted him to. And so this is going to be a hard battle for Marley Joff heading into next week's round. The final round. We're currently at the penultimate stage at VIR, but the final round coming in next week, I believe it's going to be completely tied 3-way between those top 3. And so it's all going to come down to who takes the win in next week's events. But I believe we are officially on final lap racing here because we've only just started the lap now with David Toth coming into the snake section, and we've got about 1 minute and 10 seconds left in this event. So coming to a close officially now. David Toth is going to be running up to the top of the hill towards South Bend and up towards Oak Tree, and we'll see if he can hold on. He definitely can. Even if he spins out, he's got 11.5 seconds of a distance between himself and Roman Pascucci that he gets to hold on to. Young is slowly but surely trying to gather a little bit of a catch up here to the likes of Pascucci and Laubish, seeing if they can change it up. But 45 seconds left on the board here, and Toth is officially on the back straight here. Gal Valero catching up to Nicholas Laubish now, seeing if he can potentially change things up here in the final 30 seconds of this event.
I've made a few commentators' curses in my time, and Tristan, that is one almighty commentator's curse there. If anything happens to Toth at the end of this race, we're pinning it back to that final 2 minutes with what you've just said there. But yeah, he's been in dominant form as David Toth tonight. I can't see anything going wrong for him, and I think we might get one more lap in, you know, because why not? Yeah, because why not? David Toth could slow down. He's flashing the lights. The checkered is going to be taken. David Toth has slowed down a little bit, so David Toth will win here at Virginia International Raceway. So good job for David Toth there. Roman Pascucci looks like he's going to hang on for that second place ahead of Aidan Young. Yes, he will. So a good drive between them two. Laubish come under pressure from Gal Valero there. You'd have fancied that if Toth did one more, Valero would have been having a look at Laubish. Johan Neshev is going to come across for P6. Hodge, P7 in this race. We've still got Kevin Roll trying to get on the back once again of Johnson, but it's just a little bit too far back for by the time the line comes up. But two very interesting races tonight, very clean. I'd say the pros were a little more aggressive than the AMs tonight, you know.
Yeah, a little bit more aggressive indeed from the pros, and they were trying to give us as much entertainment with the smaller amount of people on the grid, and it really did give us a good amount of entertainment there. Dean Arena obviously lost out to Meats in the final couple of corners, final couple of laps, apologies, in this race. But that's officially it for your pro racing for tonight. We do have a couple more minutes, like Matthew mentioned, for interviews here, which is good. At least we get to interview a couple more of the AMs than we normally do, instead of unfortunately scurrying them away with the amount of time left. Russell Soto will be your final driver to come across the checkered flag line here to round off the pro racing for tonight. And looks like we've got two people in our virtual grandstand, both from our AMs. Here's your leaderboard, though, your results for the pros. David Toth does indeed take first, Roman Pascucci in second, Ed Young third, Nicholas Laubish in fourth, with Gal Valero, Johan Neshev, Justin Hodge, and Tyler Carr up to P8. Elon Johnson, followed by Kevin Roll, Rodrigo Meets, Mehdi Nareen, Zohair Ahmad in 13th, 14th for Rick Halsband, 15th for Russell Soto, and then down 16th all the way down to 20th is your drivers who did not finish in today's racing: Dennis Grabowski, Ty Dunnett, Marley Joff, Gabriel Ivanov, and Juliet Johnson. Your final of the top 20 in terms of this racing action for tonight.
Indeed it is. And we'll start off by doing Andrew Herschel, shall we? Andrew, welcome into the commentary box. You're live on the league by Foxxtecca. First of all, congratulations on the AM win. Really good drive from yourself. It seemed pretty comfortable from your position.
In the words, I'm a big Lewis Hamilton fan, but in the words of Max Verstappen, that was simply lovely. That was a pretty straightforward race. You look pretty disappointed by that answer.
No comment on that one. It was pretty straightforward, though. The job was done in qualifying, really. You got the race start you needed. You got that lead of the race. It was just about controlling it. Obviously, a shame to lose Evan Davis from the race with the PC crashing on him. But that gave you that even bit more of a cushion, didn't it, over then Ramsey Jimenez and Declan Denarin?
It definitely did. I was pushing pretty hard to maintain that 3.5-4 second gap with Evan. I saw there was some points where he actually pushed it closer to that 3 second mark. So I definitely didn't want to let it get any closer. And then as soon as he disconnected, I even messaged him. It was kind of a punch in the gut because he was pushing me pretty hard. But I knew that the pace after he had disconnected would have allowed him to catch up if I had continued the pace afterwards, because I was just trying to control it.
Now, this kind of brings you back into championship contention. I think, from my calculations, don't take my word for this, I worked out roughly about 33 points between yourself and Caden Parks Miller for the championship. All out at St. Petersburg, I assume.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, it's a track that I have never actually set a single lap on, as well as I'm not a fan of street circuits. I'm from Detroit area, so Belle Isle is kind of my quote-unquote home track, and I'm not a fan of it. All the walls and everything like that. So St. Petersburg should be very, very interesting for me.
I'm sure a lot of work will be done over this next week. Finally, anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Of course, you guys, always putting on a fantastic broadcast. I love watching you guys when you guys did DRICCA back when I was racing in that league as well. Huge shout out to my teammates at Superlap, Thays, and Foxxtecca, but a lot of the guys at Superlap have really pushed me a lot, especially during this race in particular. So huge shout out to them, and my parents for watching too, because they got a chance to watch this time instead of being in Europe at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Someone's got to do it. Be interesting, huh? But no, congratulations tonight. We'll hopefully see you out there next week.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next week.
Buddy. We've got Ramsey Jimenez. Tristan, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, Ramsey Jimenez taking in second for the AM class, and I think Ramsey, this we can officially call you a podium scorer because it didn't officially count for last round being B format. This is the official A format ruling, and you've officially taken your first podium in the league by Foxxtecca. So congratulations for that one at Virginia International. And when we saw the cheers there from your camera, I mean, you looked absolutely ecstatic from tonight's result. Ramsey might not be here.
Yeah, he's still speechless. He did tell me he had school tomorrow, so he wasn't going to come in for an interview. So I'm surprised to say, Ramsey, are you there?
No, it doesn't look like it. Might be AFK, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's a shame. So we are. We'll give it just a moment or two. He has just jumped back out, so hopefully he will come back in. Let me try and drag him back in once again. Ramsey, can you hear us? Okay, so we're not going to get to hear from Ramsey Jimenez, sadly, tonight. But that then is going to round up, so I can't see anybody else in the interview waiting area for the penultimate time this season here at Virginia International Raceway. What a night it has been. Championships, though, on the line. The two championship the two championship leaders, both having disconnections and both, once again, having their struggles. But that makes it even more interesting going into the season finale at St. Petersburg in a week's time. Tristan, been an absolute pleasure once again.
Yeah, absolute pleasure for myself as well, with yourself and Jim for the penultimate time. One more time next week for round number 8. Please make sure you stay tuned because we've got St. Petersburg coming up. A bit of an unknown circuit to most of our drivers. It's going to prove to be quite interesting in the GT3s. But for VIR, it's been an absolute great amount of racing here today.
It has. So we'll catch you next time on The League by Foxxtecca. Goodbye.